children. We're just children. Children. One, two, three, you put your eyes on me. 5, 5, 6, and my feelings are mixed. 7, 8, 9, I just follow the signs. 10, kiss me in the rain. 1, 2, 3, you're too blind to see. 5, 5, 6, 8, I'm taking the risk. 7, 8, 9, I just follow the line. 10, kiss me in the rain. Children, we're just children. Children, we're just children. Play with me, I'll play children. We're just children. Children.
Well, welcome everybody wherever you are in the world. I hope you are settling in well because we have arrived here in the Austrian Grand Prix, round 6, all the way to the World Summit that we shall be reaching perhaps in Saudi Arabia in February 2022. But for now, we're going to be in the Austrian Heights there, the home of Mozart, Strauss, Beethoven, Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is even one of those heroes that come from here, as well as Toto Wolff. And this is an absolutely fantastic. 32% of the country is below, only 32% is below us, 1,640 feet. So around this Red Bull Ring, 2.7 miles, 3 DRS zones, but only 10 corners and action all the way for this 50% race. Going over those current driver standings at the moment there, Mr. Eversnacks had won that last race. Now he's tied there with the Ferrari driver with 69 points there. Leslie and Thor are keeping them honest, and the Mercs as well as the AlphaTauri of Ocean Chief. And there's a bit of a nice close battle that's occurring between those drivers in the midfield. Snell obviously lost a few of those positions with a pretty bad strategy call last week, but see if he can make it up this week. Ferrari now leading that championship from McLaren. Then you have the Mercs, Red Bull, AlphaTauri, Haas, and Williams are all very close. Let's go to our little studio screen, and well, joining me for the first time commentating together will be Mr. Tipsy Bob. G'day, mate.
Hello, Biggs. Yes, absolute pleasure to be joining you on the mic. I've done it many, many times, but this is a first for me to be joining you on microphone, so it is my pleasure to be joining you. What a track we have today. Biggs, Austria, one of my personal favourites. Kind of gutted that I'm not racing, but hey man, we are on set for a fantastic race today. I'm sure of it. As you pointed out there, we've got a really tight battle up ahead. Well, in saying that, the Ferraris are taking off, but Eversnacks, Lavisole, and Leslie, I raced them last week. Those guys are very, very rapid and very, very competitive as well. So also, as you mentioned, that Austria is a very short track, only 10 corners. So, this even in qualifying, a little bit of a mistake in qualifying on such a short track can have a massive difference, a massive effect, effectively, on your overall lap time. So yeah, man, as we're watching the lobby filling up, I'm really buzzing for this one.
I tell you what, one thing that always comes back and bites you as a driver around this track in the game version, obviously, is those penalties. They come thick and fast. So certainly in the final couple of corners as well. Turn 10 is pretty easy to invalidate. And you'll see some of those drivers obviously do that during qualifying. But during the race, you tend to see a lot of those penalties start racking up here. So the drivers that can manage to bring those cars home with the least amount of penalties, certainly looking for a race win. And a late safety car, which tends to happen around here as well, can bunch people up. And then that's it. You start getting 8-9 seconds of penalties and stuff like that. And you're running in P1 and the drivers behind you only have 3 or 0. You've lost this race.
Yeah, exactly, man. And you picked up on a really vital element of these recent Formula One games is those penalties. They really can make and break your race. Again, not to reference it, but again, last week we did see that Futuristic and Motocrosser were leading the charge. I was kind of hanging in behind them, and they were really going for it. But they did pick up those penalties and ended up losing out in the win. And it's one of the things that, like this, the more slower guys like myself and Chief won't mind me saying it. Chief's a good friend of mine, so he won't mind that. We're obviously slower than a lot of these young guns, but we're more smoother, and we focus on keeping those penalties down to an absolute minimum, and they can pay dividends, especially a track like this, as you said, Biggs. Safety car is almost guaranteed, and whenever you get a late safety car, and if you've got no penalties, you're going to shoot up that leaderboard.
You're absolutely right. Well, while we're waiting for those drivers to jump into the lobby, it's going to be dynamic weather as well. We'll pull up that weather report later on as we get through the air. Well, Tipsy Bob, you've already commentated a hot lap around here, so I think I'll play that video for everybody else to watch.
Okay, man.
How to get it done around Austria.
So here we are on board the Mercedes with SLR driver Wamski as he's about to start his hot lap off Austria. Uphill right-hander is the first corner. You can brake a little bit later than most corners due to the nature of it being uphill. Up ahead is turn 3, another uphill right-hander, so you can afford to brake a little bit later just after the 100-meter boards. But traction is vital out of this corner. A lot of lap time can be gained by getting it right. DRS activated. Turn 4 is a downhill right-hander. Now, normally you would brake much earlier, but you can get a little bit extra lap time if you can afford to brake a little bit later. Turn 6 is the first proper tricky corner. It's a blind left-hander effectively. A little gentle dab on the brakes and getting as early as possible on the corner. Turn 7 here, generally people with a little bit of dab on the brakes, but you can pretty much take that corner flat out if you get it right. High speed right-hander up ahead, turn 9. 50-meter boards is the brake point. You want to keep it nice and tight, don't run out too wide. Avoiding the curb on the final corner, DRS activated, and that completes a very short lap of the Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. That's Wamski, I believe it was, that you're commentating on. So I also wanted to show you, we got a bit of the podium graphic up that's obviously available here in the Slipstream Racing League. I like that. I have not seen that from any of the racing leagues I've been a part of. And that's a little podium. Give me an idea of how many of those podiums are shared with some of those drivers that are there right now. As you can see, that's not that much of a difference, is it?
Yeah, this is a nice little graphic, Biggs, that a couple of guys have thrown together, and I think they do it across all the tiers in SLR. I think it's a handy little feature that you can see where those podium places are kind of spread across the grid, and there's obviously the Ferrari one looks slightly bigger, but it's not that there's no one really running away with it as of yet. I mean, as we can see, joint P1 at the moment is Lavasole and Eversnacks on 69 points. So this title is still a lot to go for, or a lot to play for yet, Biggs.
It is, and it's a long, long season. I'll pull up the calendar. As I mentioned that before, we're only just on round 6, and we've got all the way to 22. Obviously, hopefully we'll get that Saudi Arabia to wrap up the season towards the end. I think the Portugal should probably definitely be in there because subject to the track release. It's already been released on that one. Santiago is an interesting one. Am I saying that? 20? The 20th track there? That's Argentina? I didn't know that track was going to be released. That might very well get switched up with the other Italian track of Imola, I would imagine, because I don't see it on the calendar.
Yeah, that's news to me as well. I'm not quite sure what that is. But one thing I would like to point out, I'm sure many people already know this, but since the patch, I discovered this in the France race. I think it was the Tier 1 race in France. The slipstream has, in my view, again, I could be wrong, but the slipstream seems a lot more effective since the patch. Now, of course, we've got this long main straight on these kind of 2 long straights on Austria. If you consider the third after turn 3 is probably 3 long straights, but we've got Silverstone coming up after this race. I think we are going to see a lot of people really effectively using that slipstream in the coming races because, as I said, it is a major feature now, I find anyway, in France. I don't know if anyone in the chat has noticed that, or maybe you've noticed it yourself, Biggs. Slipstream seems to be a major player since the patch.
As a driver, not so much. Seeing it, yes. Obviously, but likes of Belgium, Camel Straight, you're just a sitting target. That's always a very, very difficult one. In the chat out there, yes, obviously. Throwing it over to you guys because you're the drivers and you're a driver yourself there, Tipsy Pod. So I just spectate that. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to feel those little differences that you guys do as drivers. Please let us know, too, if the audio levels are all great out there, too, before we get underway for that qualifying session as the drivers are all loading in. Sonny's taking bets on how many spins he'll have after a long break of racing. Hopefully not too many, my friend. Turn 1 tends to catch a lot of people off on this track, doesn't it? I saw a few people in some of the other racing. Obviously, one of the partners, too, is 2S Racing. I did that one yesterday here around this same track. So, yeah, there was quite a few spins, actually, out of turn 1. And I think turn 6 around there, too, as well.
Yeah, turn 1, it's one of those things where people really try to kind of get greedy and they really go for that extra little bit of speed on the exit, but then they overshoot it and then they panic, and then there is that nasty curb there, get on the throttle too early, and then they spin the car. So yep, quite often there. Turn 3 would be up the hill. A lot of people get greedy there as well, run deep on the brakes, you'll see them overshooting it. And then turn 4 is another potential killer of a corner. And then turn 7 again is another killer. If you get that wrong on the traction on the curb, you're going round.
Going around. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully not too many drivers going to go around, because early days in this championship, points are absolutely critical. You have to, you've got to just consistently bring the car home. You don't have to always get race wins. You can easily get even 4th place, 5th places like that every single race. Well, you got a good chance of stealing that trophy, taking that trophy home with you and getting your name engraved on it. And, well, Season 7, you could be the Season 7 championship here for Tier 4. We've obviously got all the other tier racing that you can see as well. You've got the Tier 1 on Saturdays. You've got Fridays for Tier 2, and I can't scroll further down there. I guess Thursdays for the Tier 3, right?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, what was that, Biggs? I was just chatting to the guys backstage.
No, I was just checking the schedule's there anyway, guys. In the YouTube, you can see that one right there.
Oh, the schedule. Forgive me. Yes. Yeah. So as we know, we have Tier 4 today. Tomorrow, Tier 3. I've actually got a full-time seat there after a long break from Formula 1. I've got a seat there for Tier 3. And then what days? Friday will be Tier 2. And then the big one, Tier 1, on Saturday.
Excellent.
But in saying that, Biggs, I'm just chatting to the guys. I think that everyone's here. I think we are ready to go. So we're ready to go. Let's see if the drivers are ready to go.
Yeah, I'm here from the hotel room from yesterday, from the other league race, so I haven't gone anywhere. So you will be here again tomorrow, right, for your racing?
Yeah, I'll be taking part full attack tomorrow for me, Biggs. I'm going to go for it. It's a bit of a it's I don't know how I would put it, but in the early days, whenever 2S was formed, I was one of the first members after Bance, obviously, and we signed up together as McLaren, and so we were the longest pairing teammates in 2S McLaren. People were changing all around us, and we stuck together, and then we, of course, overthrew the mighty Ferrari back then, and took the title. Well, Tier 3, there was a spare McLaren seat sitting beside my old buddy Bance, and I've took it. So we're getting the old gang back together, maybe a little bit rusty, and yeah, bringing back McLaren, albeit a few lower tiers.
Oh, the old gang! You say the old the old guys out there compared to these young guns that are coming in. You must be feeling a little old and wise.
Yeah, well, I probably would be one of the oldest, but Chief's older than me. So Chief is a good friend of mine. Chief's in his 40s. I'm 36. But yeah. But here, Biggs, we're in, and it is a wet qualifying.
Yeah, going down to the track, you can see that. Well, we are on the track. I don't know why it actually pauses there for a second. But that is absolutely wet. However, I'm going to pull up that weather report and give you guys a bit of an indication of what it might be towards the end of the qualifying. So let's have a look at this. I still have my hotkey all hooked up for that one. I do. There's your weather forecast. Doesn't go past the 10 minutes too much because we are just in the qualifying session. And I'll tell you what, we could be looking at similar conditions again for the race itself. Might be starting dry and then ending in these conditions. But it is dynamic weather. It does change. So who knows, really? We have to ask Arnold Schwarzenegger and Toto Wolff, perhaps. They're from Austria.
The rain really mixes things up, I have often said in streams gone by, because that I often find that the rain kind of kills the racing online. It makes it really exciting for, the real race, the real Formula 1, but I generally find kind of kills it out because everyone just kind of neutralizes themselves and they're just trying to survive the conditions. In saying that, this is Tier 4, so a lot of guys are allowed to use their assists. Some guys will be using TC, ABS, so they can maybe attack a little bit more when it comes to the wet races. But yeah, the weather really... Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So Williams' driver just went around as you were speaking about that. These conditions trying to get used to it. But yeah, go ahead, you were saying.
Yeah, the weather really mixes it up. As we seen in France last week, it's... what was it? It was a dry qualifying, and so people were actually in Tier 1 actually, and people were qualifying on their mediums. They forgot to check the weather forecast. Some of us did, some of us didn't. And it actually started off as a wet race. wet race start, but it got drier as it went on, and the race just completely transformed to kind of like a process, I can't say that word, following each other to full on attack at the end of the race. So, as you said, Biggles, although it might be a wet race or a wet start, everything can change as soon as the drops hit the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he spun around again too. Massive, massive accident. You want to keep that car on the track at least. You lose a front wing, smash one of those advertising boards as well. Yeah, that's the Williams driver of Dr. Uther.
Yeah, so I can give you a quick insight to Dr. Uther as well. Dr. Uther has been a long-term driver. He kind of comes and goes, and I don't think I'm giving anything away here, but he was at the risk of losing his seat because he hasn't been attending, I think, the last 4 races. So he's definitely out of practice. So I'm not surprised to see him struggle in these conditions. Always he knocks on.
Yeah, some of the drivers are a little bit rusty too after the recent patch update. We've had a bit of a break, having a bit of a vacation, really what you call a summer break, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that before too. Snell in that last race really got caught out with that strategy, actually boxing on the last lap, putting inters on. Wet race also towards the end of the race there, Malello. But that's the great thing about the dynamic model. I keep saying this over and over again during this game. I think we'll go to the actual man at the moment, Max Blitz, that's the first time in Ferrari. But yeah, the weather report does update every 5 or so minutes. So what it'll do is I've got percentages and stuff like that I get from the telemetry software that I did display up there before. So those percentages, obviously within that, are how they indicate what the dynamic weather changes. So I'm showing a 5 minutes time, 58% rain percent. You can see that actually on the screen there, and 40% later on into the race, 10 minutes. So that will actually into the qualifying. That'll spice things up for the race.
Yeah, and the thing also about the wet is it makes, especially like wet qualifying, it makes predicting who will get pole much more difficult. Now, if it was in the dry, I would have given the shout out straight to Eversnacks. He's one of the quickest guys here, definitely. In a dry quali, he's the man that I look out for. But in wet qualifying, anyone can get it, yes.
It's about to cross the line right now, set the fastest time, I would imagine, because he has purples. There it is, 112.9, first in the 112s, but no doubt this track is going to improve up a little bit as they get those little bit of a racing line form there, and obviously get a little bit more practice in around here in these conditions. As Ferdy out there says, but the podium celebrations will be dry. Absolutely, they will be dry, for sure, man. I can guarantee you that. Ocean Chief now on a bit of a flyer. We went in there, Meepo and Bean, so the Haas drivers are really liking these conditions. That's another question out to you guys as drivers in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much for tuning in. And yourself there, Mr. Tipsy Bob. How much do you tweak this car, knowing that perhaps most of the race itself could be wet conditions?
Well, that is something that I have often debated myself while sitting in the car. You have your setup kind of nailed down, and then you realize, damn it, it's going to be a wet race, or maybe a half wet. What do you do? Now, me personally, I generally don't touch my setup. Maybe I would, depending on the setup, I would maybe give it maybe an extra front wing to get a bit more turning, 1 click if that. But generally, I leave it. I know that there are other guys that will actually have an independent wet setup, and then there's an even third group of people that do have a few tweaks that they'll do to their setup. But me personally, I generally leave it as it is, maybe 1 click on the front wing.
There you go. There you have it. Quite interesting. And good thing about this as well, Snell's going to set his time as he goes through for another lap, it looks like. Trying to see where that driver is. Sorry, it's not Snell at the moment. Good, P13. That man right now, Lava, looking like a good light, and also the Red Bull driver of Thor are both improving on their times. They're both going to be very similar. Yes, Lava. We have lost somebody, unfortunately. That was the Williams of Uther. Uther. We lost
Bean as well.
Yeah, Bean. And there's Bean. You can see his car right there as it just went past. And Tranquilo was one of the first retirements. We're losing people left, right, and center at the moment. This is going to be very, very spicy.
Yeah, man, I've seen the Ferrari of Max Splits kind of gingerly just creeping around the track with no front wing at all. And then Leslie, one of the title contenders, I think he's currently P3 in the championship. He's already out. I didn't see what happened to him. But, man, if these guys are losing it on their own effectively in the wet, who knows what's going to happen coming up to turn 1 if it's a wet start.
It's true, and the track is actually evolving a little bit. So I'm seeing purples left, right, centre as they're slowly getting used to these conditions. However, when they're starting to push these cars, they are human beings. They're making some mistake. And, well, retiring. We've still got 10 minutes to change to go in the qualifying, so we haven't had that much done just yet. And we're already, what, four drivers out. Massive crash by Ocean Chief. Massive.
Oh, no.
Out of the last corner, he was set for a fastest lap. And that is absolutely game over. And that's remember, this tied for this championship at 2 as well. So this is catching some of the best drivers on the planet off guard. You got to mention too that they had the ability to use some traction control around here, which you probably want to have to make sure you're cranked up to the max, I'd say. Even no, it does make you slower, but in conditions like this, it might make actually just somehow keep on the track.
Well, you know, Chief is one of those guys that doesn't use any assists at all. But, you know, this is an example, Biggles, of what I was just, making reference to earlier on, that Austria is a difficult track even in the dry. There are so many potential hazards on traction, out of the corner to lose it. Never mind adding the wet to it. So, yeah, that last corner, Chief was probably really pushing hard on it and, yeah, lost it.
Have a look at the weather report, my friend. You know all those fancy goods that we have here at SLR? Look at that. Drying up in 10 minutes. Drying up at the end of this qualifying session. You can see the chance of rain in 23 minutes. See how it changed? We saw the weather model before was showing rain at the end of the qualifying session. And now it's decided, well, it's going to start clearing up a little bit. So that means last across the line, potentially here, could definitely be on pole. However, 4 of those drivers can't be here to look at that. I'm going to show that replay as well, too, of that accident, in case you missed it, of what destroyed Ocean Chief's car. If you look at it, around the final corner it was, and there it is. Just the rear end of the car hit that grass, and I tried to overcorrect it, and the car did not want to stick. There's no grip out there, and that is game over. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, that's a horrific crash. The Biggles coming to the last corner. Curbs are notoriously difficult in this game. There's just no grip on them whatsoever. But again, when you add the wet stuff on it, you just see how that rear end just snapped on him. And by that stage, he was just a passenger. But he will be kicking himself because, as you said, drying up. And Chief is one of the quicker guys. Yeah, all to play for yet.
And the standings as well, which will just quickly show up while we have a little bit of a break in this. And there it is right there, those championship standings. He's number 5, P5. And then look at that. There's only just a handful of points that's separating himself from Leslie and Thor. And both Leslie and Thor, I believe, are still in this race at the moment, or still in this qualifying session as we go back down to the track again. Sorry, Leslie's not. So it's looking all very good for Thor right now. So he's right at the top of the timesheets. And, of course, Eversnacks.
I just missed it there, Biggles, but there was another car at the top of turn 3. He seemed to be absolutely mangled, but I actually missed who that was.
Tilde just spun as well as I went on board with the Red Bull driver.
Yeah.
So, I think it was, I'm trying to see, I can't see where the car is, but obviously they've DNF'd. That might have been Boosted Mess. I'm trying to see who just terminally damaged. It's Alfa Romeo. I think it is. So, yeah, that's probably Boosted Mess.
But is Boosted not in the... He's in the Aston?
Yeah. 2 seconds down the road, just without one lap set in. At the moment, Snell Hankey is loving these conditions. He has to be very careful. I've seen these drivers light up the timing boards right now, and he has lit up a Purple Sector 1 quite quick as well. I think he shaved almost 2/10 off the fastest sector time before that. But now you can see just a little bit of that wheel hitting the grass or the chicane, and it could be all over. Final couple of corners to navigate right now. These are beautiful in the dry if you get it right. A little bit scary if you get it wrong on the wet. Let's see if Snell can make up for last week's little mistake. And there is a 112.3. So he's just still a little bit away from Thor.
And his accomplice in the other Ferrari, sorry, not his accomplice, his not the sister team, but the main team, Ferrari of Lavasole, is starting his lap. He is one to watch for this qualifying, Biggles. Very, very quick guy, very rapid, and he learns as the track evolves. He finds the grip, usually in these conditions. So yeah, I'm going to be running on board with him. See how he's
Give
getting
us a
on.
hot lap around there as I just pop.
All right, well, best I can. So he's coming up to turn 1. He is down on his time, so he's down by what's that, a 10th. So not good, but the beauty about Austria is that you can gain a good bit of time. Oh, there's a Ferrari gone there. Max, I seen he just passed his teammate. Max was completely right. I think he might have been. Is he done? No. But anyway, continue on with Lavasole. very, very difficult corner this in the wet. You want to get the traction down as early as possible, but in the wet you can just feel that rear end kicking out on you. It's desperate to snap on you, and you're constantly fighting the whole physics of the car and willing these tires to grip. Turn 7, as I said, my hot lap, you can actually take it flat out if you get it right, but certainly I will not be taking it flat out in the wet. Almost over here for Lavasole. He's doing okay. He was down on sector 1. I missed sector 2, but he's coming around the final corner here. Wants to avoid as much of those curbs. Well, not too much. Here he comes. He's going to cross the line. How does he do it? He's not going to improve. Well, he does. He improves by a fraction. Not good enough, but he may have enough time, Biggles, to get another lap in. But yeah, one of the things I also want to say as well, Biggs, is there's a dark horse within the ladder is Thor. Thor, he doesn't really light up the timesheets, although he's currently P2, but he's very, very consistent. I noticed this last week when I raced him. He keeps out of trouble, he keeps his pen and penalties to a minimum, and he is always there. Now, given the fact that this is a wet race, he is one to watch for this race win.
He certainly is. This was Eversnacks. Snell coming in there very surprisingly at Thor. Yeah, this is a great opportunity for him to try to seize opportunities to be up the front row of the grid here. When you've got the lights.
Snell on softs, Biggs. Sorry, cut you. Snell on softs.
Yeah, good call here. I'm just going to keep on Meepo. That's the Haas driver. He snuck his way up into P2. This track is definitely evolving, and I'll show you those tyres right there, right now. Yep, well, Snell's in the pits on softs. He hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's ready for softs yet.
Yeah, weather report forecast, again, has probably updated, and it has. There it is. You can see. Definitely looking drier and drier towards the end of the qualifying session, but will it be dry enough? That's going to be the crucial part.
I tell you, Biggles, what probably Snell is doing. He's going to sit in the pits with those softs ready to rock at the last minute, and he will gamble. He will go out to make sure that he doesn't get caught out. Although he's just switched again back to intermediate, so who knows? Who's going to gamble and go for it? That's the question. Is it dry enough within the time frame to do softs? I'm running on board with Meepo here. It doesn't look dry enough. It's not far away from it, mind you, but it just doesn't look dry enough for softs.
It doesn't yet. Thor is out. He must have missed that one somewhere. I don't see anything in race control saying anything about a Red Bull terminally damaged. But I don't see any cars on track. Obviously, in the track map, you can see that. No, but Thor's out. So he's either retired in the session and said, look, I'm not going to get quicker, which I would be surprised, considering the track is drying up. Maybe you can let us know in the Twitch chat. Yeah, reading those Twitch chat guys out there. So Bailey,
yes, Snell is out on track now, Biggle. Sorry. Yeah, right. He backed out of that soft run, and he's going to have his final run on intermediates. But we've got two guys on softs, but they're still in the pits. Well, one guy, they can't make their mind up here because they keep switching. But Lavasole at the moment, he looks like he might be the only one who's going to go for this.
We got two. We got Tilde and Max Splits. And the Ferrari driver, Max Splits, was just a little bit quicker through that first sector, as well as Meepo. So they're pretty much matching 17.5 first sector. So keep an eye out between the Haas driver and this Ferrari driver, although the middle sector was not that impressive for both those drivers. They're not sitting any greens, just whites. You're predicting 5 DNFs out there today from Kitsu.
That would be my wife.
Oh, is it? Hello.
Yeah, that's my wife.
She's French, right?
Mais oui, ma femme est française,
yeah.
ouais.
There you go.
Yes. She's sitting behind me, Biggles.
Aha. Meepo's invalidated that lap, and these other guys have not improved as well, Max Spliffs and Tilsey. So somebody might have to take a gamble here. You can see, I don't know. It does like, the thing is too with this game, doesn't it? It dries pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it can catch it very, very quickly. You know, bizarrely quickly it dries out, but hey, look, we're almost at the end of qualifying. Someone's going to have to, well, not going to have to, but someone might gamble for this. Eversnacks, as predicted, is, currently P1, not by an awful lot now, 2/10. I think that this is quite possible that this pole could change. But we don't have many drivers left, Biggles, either, from DNFs and just naturally retiring, so...
Great advantage for any of these drivers who usually probably might not be on the front row. And there's your indication point right now from the game to say, hey, it's getting ready. Somebody's had to risk it. Ever's already out on the inters, so he's going to have to either box right now. Has he have enough time? 1 minute and change to go. He set the fastest third sector, just trying to get everything ready for this. He's going to have to commit to this lap. I don't think he's going to have enough time to box and come back out.
Snacks seems to be the only, or sorry, not Snacks. Shakalaka, it seems to be the only man that has made it out just in time for a soft run, but it is going to be very, very tight. He's going to have to push a lot on this hot lap to make it round.
Let's go on board with it and see how it feels as a driver. And also keep an eye on those outlaps and those other drivers up ahead. So this is it. We've also got Meepo that's decided to go to the softs, so we'll keep an eye on that. Shakalaka, on board with him. How is this feeling, Tipsy?
Well, we'll see, obviously, when he starts really pushing, although he's using his battery on his outlap. I suppose that makes sense to a degree. He's trying to make it round in time. Oh, he's a bit snippy. Meepo also went out on the softs. I don't think he's going to make it round in time. But Shaq is our only real man that we will see how he gets on. Yep, there he's back up to, well, almost 100%. So we're going to see here, Biggles. I don't know if he's going to make it round in time. He's only got 5 seconds. He's just left too late. He's not going to make it.
He's not.
He's not going to make it.
Will Meepo make it? No, he won't either, because Meepo's too far down the road.
Yeah. They left it too late.
I know, actually, I think they can go on a lap. No, they can.
I know.
Yeah, they can.
Oh, they can.
They can, yeah. So that could be perfect for them. They're going to be last across the line and in dry conditions, but this man at the moment, Eversnack, is loving these inters. He's using it because he's the quickest man on track and about to go even quicker than the time he has. Snell sneaks up into P2, 0.004 of a second. Just ahead of there, but Ever's going to be settling this one a little bit further. Look at that, half a second. That's how much this track is evolving. But Meepo is the fastest man through the first sector. He's just annihilated that sector time. He's destroyed it. The soft tyres are perfect. A little bit of traffic up ahead.
Snacks has also annihilated sector. He's up by over half a second. Although I don't think he's going to be quick enough to get pole.
Oh, Shakalaka's in his way. Sorry, go ahead. So
he's up by 2 seconds. Shaka says he's up by 2 seconds. But what happened? Shaq's backed out.
Yeah, Shaq's backed off because Meepo is catching him really quickly. And either that, we're going to come together, or they're going to try to be overtaking each other. But Meepo right now is going to steal this pole with a perfect strategy call. Shaka might not be able to if Shaka's invalidated. That's the reason why. So Meepo's going to cross the line. He'll be pole by 5 seconds almost. Wow.
Man, it goes to show you the evolution of this track with we know drying so quickly. Yes, 106 naturally wouldn't have been a very quick time in a normal qualifying, but my goodness, the gap in time difference between obviously the soft and intermediates, but it goes to show how quickly this track has dried up, and Meepo is the only man that was switched on, and yeah, well done for Meepo.
Yeah, taking that gamble, why not use changeable conditions you saw? Usually a lot of drivers go from that DRS activation from the game that gives you that indication, hey, it's time. Well done, Meepo, exactly out there. The timer doesn't sync with the spectators from Pogmaster. That makes perfect sense as to why it didn't come up for us as it would for the driver. Yeah, so you're not used to probably spectator mode as much, mate.
Not often,
I
no.
forgot about that completely.
It's like I said, it's been a while since I used to commentate quite regularly, but I haven't done it for a long time. But yeah, that's Shaq lap. Shaka was way up on his time as well, Biggs, but I think he just invalidated it as Jules are confirming in chat. So yeah.
There you go. You'd like to read through our international squad drivers here for SLR Tier 4?
I can, certainly. So we have on P1 is young Meepo from Finland, and P2, the current championship leader, joint championship leader, Eversnacks, then Snella Henke in P3, Thor, P4, Lavasole, P5, Bean in P6, Leslie Stomp, that's not his full name, I can't remember the full name, is P7 from Holland, Tilda in P8. Oh, I just lost the grid.
Yeah, they gave you less time this season to do that. They used to give you about 40-something seconds. I think they give you about 30-something to get through. It's all right, but we can go through them again, obviously, during the formation lap. We'll have plenty of time. We can also talk about the weather. And you can see it is a dry start. Remember as well, because it's a dry start, well, that just means now that the only driver that has to actually use the softs will be the man that qualified on pole. Everybody else gets a free choice of tyres.
Exactly. That's a good point. So maybe it wasn't such a brainwave for Meepo. Although it's only one lap.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Colder conditions as well, and that one lap probably didn't burn through those tyres as much. But everybody else will have absolutely free, fresh boots to use.
Yeah, free tyres choice. At the moment, we can see Bean is the only guy, what's that, in the top? Well, no, who's that? Bean, Tilda. Yeah, Bean and Tilda, the only guys in the top 10 on the medium strat, so they're going for the alternative strat.
Have a look at the weather forecast for you, mate. I'm going to spice things up a little bit there because I don't think that maybe those mediums were a good call, because look at that. 5 minutes time, we got rain. 10 minutes time, more rain. 15 minutes rain. Thunderstorms in 30. And then it looks like it might dry out a little bit towards the end of the race. Wow. How does that feel?
Well, the only thing I would say about that, Biggs, is yes, you could be right. Mediums probably could have been the wrong call. However, in saying that, it could also have been the right call because it's so unpredictable. When the rain comes. I have seen races where I think the rain's going to come early, so I stick the softs on, and the rain, it takes a long time to come, and I end up burning out my softs, and then I'm left the choice, well, do I go for another set of softs, or do I go for mediums? And then you're just left in kind of like limbo of when to go. So, yes, if the rain does come within the time frame, those mediums were a bad call.
We will find out, won't we, in just a couple of handful of laps. It goes by very, very quickly here. So I am the Biggles, and joining me in the commentary box for the first time together is Tipsy Bob. So, mate, we're going to get ready to try to broadcast this one, try to keep up with all the action, because 10 corners and 17 gladiators are very hard to keep up with, and there's those tyres that you can see. So we'll keep an eye on those position changes, gainers and losers.
I'm a little bit nervous for this, Biggs, because, it is Tier 4 after all. I have raced here. I've seen what happens at Turn 1. But it's going to go from Turn 1 to Turn 3 to Turn 4. All those corners are massive overtaking potential. And when you have them all bunched up like this, who knows?
You have to call it, my friend. That is the rule of thumb. When anybody commentates with me, the co-commentator calls the race start.
All right. I get caught out, though. I tripped up my own voice. But okay, we'll give it a go. It's been a while. Here we go.
Here we go.
All right, so the lights are on. The guys will be applying just enough throttle. A slight delay, but they're off the line, and that is go in Austria. Everyone seems to be getting a squirrely start, but the Ferrari at the back of the track seems to be getting a good launch off the line. He's getting run off track. Meepo gets away nice and cleanly. The first top. Oh, a bit of collision between the Haas and the Red Bull further back there, but they managed to keep it on track. Everyone's still running, and there's almost already a little gap performing between the top three. Checking this as we run down to Turn 3. Everyone getting across pretty well. Tranquilo seems to be lagging at the further at the back. Must have been a little bit of damage. He must have been the one caught up in that incident. But yeah, already we're seeing Meepo is getting away on those worn softs. But yeah, it's a pretty clean start, I have to say. Oh, but as I'm saying that, we have a Mercedes and a Haas going down into Turn 6. They're still side by side. Who's this? Leslie and Bean. They're still. Oh, and then Bean just wins out there. I think Leslie plays along. We got a yellow. We got a yellow in Sector 2. I can't see who that is, Biggs.
AlphaTauri. I think that's Torxie at the back there. Yeah, have a bit of a spin, but he's still in the race at the moment. Yeah. Max Splits. What a launch. What a race start. The Ferrari driver up 3 places, as you can see, just ahead of Bean, who's in that battle right now of Leslie. And that is the first lap done.
Oh, Tilda spun at the exit. No, he didn't. He spun at Turn 9. So he must have run a bit wide there. So yeah, he's burnt out those tires. So nightmare for Tilda on those mediums, and spinning, burning them up already. Lap 2. We get another yellow in Sector 3. That must be probably for Tilda going so slow. Forget me.
Torso again. I think he's just cooked his tires. He's looking at box right now. Maybe he can take that gamble and switch on to Inters. I don't know. He's definitely cooked his tires. You don't see the rain falling just yet, but it is forecasted in 5 minutes' time. And if you're last place in this race, well, you've got too much to lose. Well, he's actually
Toshka's retired.
It's too early in this session to retire, my friend.
Yeah,
There's
you
plenty
don't
of
back
racing
out.
to go. Changeable conditions. Anybody could win this race.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. It's something me and Chief would always bang on about in Discord. Do not give up so early. Anything can happen. There's 2 laps to go. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen and does happen. Perhaps. Oh, at the front here.
Oh, we got a clash. We got a crash.
We've lost the McLaren driver, haven't we, of ever? Oh no, I'm also seeing
Meepo.
somebody else spin.
Yeah, it's Meepo and Eversnacks. There must have been a collision. So we've got we had pole position, and the current leader of the championship have spun out.
Yeah, there they are on track. Actually, Meepo's managed to go on the pit lane, so no doubt he's going to fix some damage in his car. But yeah, what's happened there? So they'd had a tangle. I was just about to go to the camera. Unfortunately, they didn't give me enough time. There's a DRS enabled now on this lap. That weather is still lurking in the background. Pull that weather report up again, see if it's changed too much.
Navasole is going for a move for P1 on Snella. He backed out of it. So he's having a little bit of a sniff, as I would say. He's having a wee bit of a sniff up that inside of Snella. But he's going to have to follow behind until we get to the next DRS zone. And you see, Biggs, there's a kind of like a minds game whenever you're racing. Some guys don't do it.
It's raining. It's raining. Look, it's raining now.
Yeah. I was going to say there for the DRS section, usually you don't want to pass them on the first DRS because you're going to get re-overtaken on the second DRS. But here we go, people.
Oh,
are flying into the pits.
Meepo had to box. Now he had a front wing change. So obviously with that little incidents that occurred, I think no, he did have a front wing change. That was a quick in and out on inters. That might have very well paid off for him because look at everybody else that's to box right now. How far down the field is he? I'm going to check the gap there. Oh, well, he's not that.
Oh, just in front of him. Yeah, just in front of him. Tilda's lost it again. Yeah, Biggs. We often have fun with the Meepo in Discord, having fun with him because he's younger than most of us, and he does say some funny things. But you know what? He has been displaying the big brain so far in qualifying, and definitely at the start of this race, the only man to go into intermediates before anyone else. And as you say, that could pay massive dividends.
Yeah, look at it right now. He's got a gain on this driver coming out of the pit lane. Both boosted mass. He'll get past him and the doctor himself. So he's jumped from practically last place up to 8th by taking that early strategy call. And remember, too, we still have 3 drivers at the top there that can't possibly stick it out. I mean, certainly not with thunderstorms looming. I mean, obviously, if it was just light rain, you could. This is it feels like France all over again.
Max! Max has lost it. Max has lost it in P2. He's really struggling on those softs.
Yeah, this is a problem if you're staying out right now, isn't it? If it's slippery, you've just dropped a lot of places, and not to mention he's got to make a pit stop. So that now potentially is going to be almost plump last.
Oh man, it goes to show you just how much of a difference a little bit of the wet stuff can make in Formula One.
Let's see if Snell can actually make the right strategy call. He, we went all pearl shaped for him in the last race. Now he has an opportunity to say, oh, you know what? Okay, fool me once, but not fool me twice. You learn by your mistakes, don't you? Let's see if Snell can get that done, because he wasn't the lead of the race. He's going to have to box, of course, lose a few positions, and there's his teammate who's also going to be boxing. So double stack there. I think it was actually. No, it's not. Snell's in there, so that was timed perfectly. Sorry, Ocean Chief. So they didn't have to worry about that too much, but obviously it's only max splits now that's switching on to those inters and will lose those positions. So now Lava, and guess what? Thor are in the lead of this race. Thor, Mr. Consistent. Mr. Thor.
Mr. Consistency Thor, yeah. No penalty so far as well for anyone. But it's, Lavasoli's in a fantastic position now to, take effectively. I know we're only 5 laps in, but if he takes the win here from this position, man, he's going to skyrocket up to the top of the leaderboards after Austria.
Have a look at the difference too. I think it was Meepo and Eversnacks, right? That had the tangle?
Yeah.
Now,
that's right. Yeah.
Look where Meepo is. By electing to box to those inters on that strategy call, he gained back up to P5. Now, Eversnacks obviously didn't, and therefore he is now running almost P12, actually. P13. He's made a spin somewhere. He has spun.
Yeah, I'm just checking here.
Oops, I'm commentating cursing him.
A rough bit of math here, boosted. Biggles. A rough bit of math. I think he is over a pit stop behind Meepo.
Let's have a look at the gap to the leader, and you're right. Definitely. Pit stop around here is about 18 seconds. It's very, very quick, remember. It's a short 10-lap track. They're still racing under green flag conditions, believe it or not. It just felt like it was almost a safety car, but it's not. So you got to think about 18-second pit stop. Well, that'd be between Snell and Darrow. So that's a long way. Yeah. That's 2 pit stops away at least. He's got a lot of work to do. Get his head down right now. Cool, calm down, relax. Definitely cool in these conditions. And thunderstorms are coming, so you could have an opportunity for it may go to wets. So
yeah, make it
call that strategy before everybody else does, and you can take that massive advantage, just like Meepo did, even after that spin.
One thing I'll point out for Eversnacks is I believe this may be his first proper league race whereby he has dropped traction control.
Somebody was mentioning that actually in the chat. Good call on that one. So not the time you want to be dropping the traction control in a wet weather race like this, but good on him, Yeah, that's what you want. I mean, I actually found a lot of drivers that said, you know what, in the game this season, when obviously it was released early this year, they said, you know what, if I'm gonna start a new racing season, I'm gonna drop one of those assists and see how I go. That's the time to do it. Currently at the moment, P7. Let's see if the doctor can drop that boosted moose. Really, mess. That's the one thing he wants to drop. That car ahead of him. Those tricky conditions. No DRS, of course, is enabled now because it's just a little bit too wet, a little bit too dangerous. So 3 of those DRS zone activation points are not there at the moment. But easily to make a mistake, isn't it, around here? Easy to lock up
yeah.
a brake.
I really commend anyone, Biggles, that's willing to give it a try at dropping, their assists, albeit even if it's just one. It's, you can drop your assist, and if you're struggling with it, then going back to what you used to use, that's fine. But at least you give it a try. A personal frustration for me, and I've vocalized this in Discord before, is that the guys that just point blank refuse to even try. It's like, you don't realize how good you probably could be if you drop them and just give it a try. So fully commend guys like Eversnack's really going for it and dropping at least one assist. Look, if he doesn't enjoy it, then switch back. But like I said, at least he's trying.
And if he gets it right, he'll get quicker and quicker, and it will pay off in the dividends in the long run.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to risk it for the biscuit, mate. That's what they say. Risk
That's
it for the biscuit. And so you can always go backwards, but one place you always want to be going is forwards.
Yes. And that idea of dropping, a new game, a new season, dropping one assist from the get-go, I think that's a great strat. Great way of doing it.
Yep, and that's exactly what a lot of the drivers that I know have done. And I'm sure a lot of these drivers here in this fantastic racing league here at Slipstream League Racing have probably done that. Season 7's middle of seasons, no doubt. Tier 4, you've been around for a while. You've seen through all this. And thank you guys out there for watching and tuning in. We are listening. We don't bite much. I know Tipsy Bob might bite, but
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. But yeah, we do pay
I'm on my
attention.
I'm on my best behavior today, obviously.
So this is what happened. It happened also yesterday as well with one of the partner channels, obviously 2S Racing. You get into a bit of a chess match in the middle of this. Even with changeable conditions coming, it's going to get even heavier with rain. So now the drivers are basically racing against themselves or racing against some deltas. And then towards the end of this race, it always tends to be a massive boxing round, isn't it? Like knockouts left, right, and centre when they come towards the end of the race. But this what slowing this down right now. The one thing it does with this rain is that you're going to see less penalties than what you would usually see in full dry conditions.
Yes. Well, that's true. As soon as you say it, you say that, Tilda gets 3 seconds, but yeah, Tilda's really struggling. Although in saying that, a lot of guys will be a bit more desperate to go for an overtake. You kind of have to brake much later because you're not going to get the DRS. Your setups are going to be pretty similar, so you're not going to get the advantage there. I'm watching Dr. Uther here. He does seem to be carrying overall quicker pace on this track in these conditions, but it's just not quick enough to pass Boosted. And so what you probably see is guys will go for a daring move, go for a lunge. If they pull it off, all being well, but they run the risk of getting that penalty or spinning, of course.
Well, spinning's probably the worst one, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, spinning is the biggest. Well, again, you don't want to contact someone and get yourself a big fat penalty from the FIA. But I said, I'm not on board here with Dr. Uther. Look at this. He's right on the back gearbox of Boosted. Look at this. He's got, I don't know what he's doing, but he's got, probably got TC on, maybe. He's able to close up a lot on the just as you're running to the brake zone, and then he has to back out of it again. The only place he's getting the real sniff here, because I don't know if you're watching, but Dr. Uther, is this run to turn 3. This is the only place where he seems to be getting the chance at going for it, and I think he's going to go for it this time.
It's bold and brave.
No, he's backing out of it again. He's just not confident enough on the brakes. I think Boosted is doing a great job. He's not defending too hard, I would say. He's not really trying to cover off. He's just doing his race, braking at the right spots. And in order for Dr. Uther to get past, he has to brake later, but then you run the risk, as I said, overshoot. Oh, but Boosted gets it really twitchy on the traction. Oh, this is going to be tricky. He was running wide. Yeah, see here, he runs a little bit wide here. So this is one thing a lot of the drivers do, is the longer you follow behind a driver, the more you get to see their flaws. You get to see where they're braking, you get to see where they're cutting in, and you get to see where they're running wide. And then you can start to manipulate that. Bit more difficult when it comes to the wet, but you can see here Boosted is running quite wide in turn 9, and he runs wide at turn 6. Already I've spotted. So if Dr. Uther can charge up a little bit of battery and then running down to turn 6, turn 3, full deployment. Then so if he full deployment here, he's got everything. He's got full deployment. This is probably the only place he's really going to get him, but he's going to have to be really brave. And he's still too far back.
Yeah, that's great inside information. Exactly. That's what I've seen as before. You've got to study your prey, your opponent, at the end of the day. And all this is bringing Snell into play. I think Snell in the background's also doing the same thing. He's like, okay, I'm going to let you guys go for it. And I'm going to sit back, and if any of you guys tangle or make a bit of a mistake or run wide, I'll sneak this AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo right up where it needs to be and get past both those drivers. But it's still difficult, as you can see, to overtake with that spray. And with that weather getting worse too, and I showed that weather forecast before too, thunderstorms are lurking, so we may get to a point of full wet conditions soon.
Yeah, man, patience means points is something I would say to the lads. Patience means points. And Snella is very excuse me, muddled up my words there. Snella is a very patient driver. Dr. Uther does have the odd mistake in him. I'm sure you won't mind me saying that. Boosted is usually pretty consistent, if not the fastest. We're getting yellow with sector 2.
So it's Chilty, I think, again going off somewhere. Yes, it is, as the Red Bull. He's out of the wall, but a little bit of his pride damaged. And, well, we have the other Red Bull, Thor, that's been consistently hanging there. But Thor's got pressure from Bean right now, so we might have to switch up to that battle. Bean's
man, good bands think alike.
Yeah.
I'm just watching that as well,
So let's see if Thor can handle the pressure from the Bean.
It does seem to be getting wetter. I mean, you can see the sprays kicking up and the cars are getting a little. I'm running on board with them, and there's some parts of the track seems. I don't know if it is an element in the game. I haven't really noticed it, but if parts of the track can be wetter than others, but it's just some sections. Oh, Tilda has retired. Has he retired on track? Has he crashed? Is it a possible safety car? Possible?
I'm trying to see. I can't see his car on the track or the track map. No, it might have been a pit lane retirement. I think that is a pit lane retirement. Yeah, the Red Bull's in the pits right now.
Oh, yeah.
So we should be green flag. Should be green flag conditions, hopefully. I'm not going to show those tyres for you guys at the moment because they're all on Inters. They're all practically relevant. The same. Some are a little bit fresher than the others, but at that point, Inters don't chew through like dry tyres.
Oh, so to see if you watch who's this, if you watch just coming out of the pits, boosted, and Dr. Uther, look, that held his car. This is a problem with the Codemasters game as we're watching here. Dr. Uther's really going for it. He's really going to go for it this time. No, he's not backing out again. Yes, it was whenever you seem to retire on track, the AI takes over and drives your car out off the pits for the first couple of corners and then vanishes. It is a major hazard. Iceman's car retired on track for me, or out of the pits, and it nearly caught me out. So that's another issue I've noticed with Codemasters game. When you retire in the pits, AI takes over and still drives it out of the pits.
Yeah, interesting. But where can you retire the game?
Retire
because you can't. If you retire on the track, it could force a safety car. So yeah, it's a tricky one. That's something I'm sure that they'll look at working out, hopefully, some point in the future. But we shall see. So they're all starting to bunch up quite a bit. So you have a bit of a chain forming behind Shaka. You got this chain behind Boosted Mess that's been there for a little bit, and then you got a chain behind Thor. And then I think you got people like Meepo. I think. Who have we lost there? Shaka.
Shaka, no, who was that? Sonny passing Shaka?
Sonny Gear passed, yeah, exactly. Good call. Let's have a look at those position gainers and losers there as well, too. So 10 places up for Mr. the Doctor. Doing quite good, but he's got to get past Boosted Mass. He's been trying for some time, hasn't he, right now? And he's going to try it right now again. This could be a fantastic run. It's been one of the closest. He's going to be side by side. He's going to have the inside line. Now he's going to have to... Oh, is he going to back off again? He did. Just not confident in the brakes on that Alpine into turn 3.
See, whenever you half commit to a move, man, it's probably possibly, it can potentially be one of the worst things ever, because then you're kind of caught in limbo and Chief gets sideways. Oh, and he hangs on to it, but he's going to just pretty much give that position to Max, and he's going to fight it. Is Chief? No. Oh, is he going to go for a late lunge? He is. Oh, he's not. He's going to back out. Oh, but Max runs a little bit deep.
In here as well, to remember, catching this party pretty quickly, losing 12 places. Man that started on P2, currently at the moment on P14 in these horrible conditions, with spray from Ocean Chief all over him, and Max just up ahead on the road. So this is great battling. But I tell you what, they're focused right now. They're just focusing on a long race. We're just getting through halfway point. But yeah, the weather is just getting worse and worse and worse. Somebody at some point might have to take a gamble to go to full wets.
A possibility, but I mean, it needs to be like really chucking it down for the the wets to make any real effect in the race. Of course, as these guys go on, naturally, I'm sure as everyone knows, their tires are getting worn out, and then Warren enters on an already soaked and saturated track. You know, mistakes creep in, and then that's the best time to start applying pressure onto a guy in front of you is whenever they start getting, a bit twitchy in the rear end, because then they start panicking. They start getting that heavy right foot on the accelerator out of the corners. Then they snap around, and then you've just been gifted a position.
It's bunching people up. You can see the track map right now that this part you got basically two different races that are occurring. You got those Top Guns at the front that are all practically, keeping within each other. Then you have that lonely racer, I think that's Meepo, all by himself there, which is probably great. Sometimes you want to be that quiet achieving because you're only battling yourself and you don't have to worry about everybody else. And then you got this other little pack behind that's forming. So Crankilo is starting to catch the back of that. And that's what's great, isn't it? It's catching them off. Some drivers are handling in better conditions better than the others, but it's bunching them up right now. And there's no DRS, remember, that's helping them bunch up. So this is just purely because the conditions are tough. There's that weather report once again. And look at that, it's the thunderstorms for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, man, this is kind of, a perfect demonstration of what I said, before the race, that but Shaq runs a little bit wide. You might see a little move here by Max. Just hold my thought. Oh, He's going to the outside. That's a brave move to try and go around the outside of turn 3. Shaq will just hold his line. Yes, this is going to be tricky. See, that's what happens. But now Shaq has still got the inside line, so Max needs to try and get in front of him before the end of this corner of turn 4, or Shaq is still in this. Shaq is still in this. I can't get a good camera for myself.
Yeah, I've got on board of Ocean Chief right now so we can keep it from the T10 on him, so that way we can make sure we capture the action. Exactly. You can only see because of the race driver tags, otherwise I'd have no idea what cars where.
You see what happened there was Max kept going around the outside, and that was going to be an easy defensive move for Shaq. But what you would effectively see now here is Max is really... Oh, Max! There you go! Trying to apply the pressure on one driver, you catch yourself out. Oh, we're going to have a 3 wide into turn 9. Effect. Oh, a little bit of contact between Chief and Eversnacks. And really threw Chief off. Is he going to lose his position? So he does. He loses it. He loses it back to Max. This is getting really feisty here, Biggs.
It is. Everchief got a little bit of a tank slapper on the back there of Ocean Chief. Sorry, Eversnacks, and that's cost a little bit of line damage for his front wing. You need all the traction you possibly can. He's got to run wide right now because he doesn't have the traction. So he's going to have to think about boxing soon. Maybe switching up. Maybe looking at switching up to another tires. His tires are about 20. So we're getting about close to 26% currently wear on these Inters.
And also, I know you don't display it, but I'll not reveal it. But Chief is using considerably more battery than many people around him. That's also going to catch him out. But what I was going to say, man, before that kind of excitement there was that you're kind of seeing what I was suggesting earlier, that wet races, you do kind of get a procession. I cannot get that word out. A procession. They're all following each other, and it's really difficult to go for any moves. And that's the kind of thing that I don't like about wet races. But in saying that, we have Leslie in P5 coming out of the pits with a fresh set of wets on, Biggles.
Yeah, this is it. It's I don't know. It's worth risking it. We don't know. We're going to see obviously the times once he comes out of the outlap and try to get something in there. Eversnacks is dropping into the pits as well. Will Eversnacks copy the same situation? He's got really nothing to lose when you're down there. Remember, this is the man that won the last race. Now, currently, plump last. What are the team going to do there for the McLaren? It looks like it might very well be wet tyres. It is. This could be a good call. And I knew he had the damage there, 80% for the front wing, so we had to get rid of that. You need the downforce as you possibly can here, and without that front wing, you're in big trouble. Let's keep an eye on what's going to happen with the rest of them. Looks like Max Splits is in that tangle that's still occurring, isn't it? Ocean Chief and Shaka, all still going at it left, right, and center. If you feel you aren't getting caught up right now, and you go, look, I just can't get past you, it's costing me too much time, would you think it's worthwhile boxing and trying a different approach? Here we go.
Hold that thought as we see that Shaq and Max are still going at it, but this time Shaq is defending really well here. I have to say I'm really impressed with his defending. We've got a yellow sector 2 and 3. We'll get a car off.
That's it looks like it might be the Oof though. Is it
Sunny?
Sunny?
No, it's Sunny off. Yeah, Shaq is doing a really good job here of his defending. I'm really impressed with it. I'm a man that does like to defend, I have to say. I'm really impressed with how Shaq is positioned in his car. What was going to say? Like, yes, in these conditions, man, if you are getting caught up, like Chief is effectively getting held back by these guys. You can see Chief's kind of holding back now. He's a bit slower on the throttle. He's probably just doesn't want to get involved in this anymore. He nearly got caught out there with an instant, so he's just backing off, playing the long game. I agree with you. At this stage, I think it's far better just to call in for the wets and just gamble. So when you're so far back, you know, you have pretty much everything to gain at this stage.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what those times start coming in there once the drivers actually start performing an actual full lap, as Eversnex must have been disconnected there for a second. He's rejoined. I wonder if his actual AI can put him into the pit lane, as we've lost some boosted masses. Boosted mass is...
Safety car! Safety car, Biggs!
Yeah, boosted mass has lost the front wing. That's what I just saw. He must have collided with somebody because he wasn't off into the wars. And that means right now, what are you going to do if you're Lava or the likes of... Well, they just passed the pit lane entrance.
Oh no! Here, man, Leslie has played an absolute masterstroke going on those wets, because if none of those guys in front of him, if they've all passed the pit lane before him, well, regardless, even if they are just in front of him, he is going to be leading this safety car. He's going to be leading the safety car, I believe, if I'm right. Although he's just within that pit window, I think.
Yeah, this is
going to be
difficult. This is the difficult part that I'm a little worried about, because that weather report, I'll pull it up again, showing for 10 minutes of these you know, horrendous conditions, but then it looks like it's gonna dry out. So do you right now? Yeah, the wets are perfect. You can see it actually right now when you see puddles on the track right there. That's wet conditions. That's what I found in this game this year. When you see the puddles, it's wet. However, under a safety car for a few laps, it might dry out enough to go back to the inters. So that's just a difficult call. You can see most of the drivers right now are electing to go back to the inters.
It's a really hard call, because, I mean, if you're going to think, well, do you know what, it's going to dry up anyway, so I'll just stick a set of softs on. But I mean, that is a massive gamble, because you would effectively lose an awful lot more time if it doesn't dry up enough in time. You're just going to just get swamped by the cars. That's happened to me a few seasons ago. I gambled. You just get gobbled up at the restart. It's a really tricky one. I still think Leslie has made the right call. Although in saying that, Chief speeding on their safety car. Drive through.
I saw a few drivers locking up. They're slapping the brakes there, and of course the car's not stopping in time, and then unfortunately you get penalized.
Hey man, Leslie in for the intermediates.
Yeah, he's switching over. I don't know if that was a good call, because the puddles are on the track. He could have probably taken massive advantage of it. Let's see about Eversnax, if he's going to elect to stay out or not on those wet weather tyres. I think you could gain a lot of positions off the start and then box. You got to remember, if it does go dry again, which it looks like it will by the end of the race, just got to hold it out for a bit and then eventually
He's coming in.
Yeah, he might. That looks like definitely enters. You know, just put wets on unless he got damage. He got no damage, so yeah, he's definitely going to enters. Big lockup, see? Once again, very lucky not to get caught out that 80-kilometre-hour pit lane speed entrance. And that's enters, yeah.
I don't know, man, if they know...
Look at Dario. He's actually gone to the wets, so that's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if they know something we don't, but unless the guys in the chat, am I missing something? But would it not have been beneficial to just stay out on those wets?
I think so, because the track has still got puddles on it. So you would have the advantage of getting a lot more grip at the start. And then, I'm just looking at a local yellow, but it looks like everybody's pointing in the right direction. And then, get ready just to eke them out a little bit and go to the dries. I love it. Just changeable conditions are great. I mean, it's hard to predict. You got a lot to gain here with some of these drivers and a lot to lose as well. But still 15 others gladiators in these tricky conditions. I'm pretty impressed with that. Pretty impressive this driving so far.
Yeah, I would agree. Austria is a tricky track in the dry, as we've said, but in the wet. And they're following reasonably close as well. I mean, we've seen those three little scrap battles going on. And, Dr. Uther kept sniffing up the inside of Boosted, but he was just, he played it right, I have to say. He did play it right, and if he didn't feel he was going to make it, he backed out of it. That's generally what you want to see. You see some guys just, kind of yeeting it, saying, look, I'm going to go for it and see what happens. And then you just spoil it for everyone else. And then, of course, you get yourself penalty points, you rack up too many, you lose you get a qualifying ban, then effectively lose your seat. So, look, it is far better to just play it smart, play the long game. And yeah, the safety car is really mixing it up, Biggles. But I'm just really keen to see what Dario could do on those wets. Has he made the master stroke, or was the other guys right in switching back to the Inters?
And another point as well on top of that is that you've got the likes of Mr. Shaka, Max Splits, and
Yes.
Tranquilo. They've all elected to keep the original tyres that they've been on for most of the race. Obviously, they just switched over from those softs. We had a soft start to the race. Just trying to see if I get telemetry data from these drivers, but they're kind of trying to hide it from me. But although I know I've got it right now, but I can get that anyway. Looks like somebody's going off in the background there. Maybe just to let 3 people through. Meepo there as well. But yeah, okay, so we're looking at about 45% fronts right now for those Inters. That's not too bad, I'd imagine, right?
45% fronts. Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, you would start to feel the effects of them giving up on you. It's maybe amplified because it's wet. If it was me, I don't know. I'm the kind of guy, I do like to run pretty long on the tires, but you know, I think whenever you get a safety car and you're given that opportunity, just yoink in and get a fresh set of rubber on.
Thank you, everybody in the chat. The chat's gone a little bit quiet, I guess, at the moment because they were scrambling to get their ponchos and umbrellas out there. Thank you very much for tuning in there. Thank you very much. We've got a little bit of messages in the comments chat there. People are casting sound to say nice. It's very enjoyable. Thank you very much. We hope to bring that entertainment here at Slipstream League Racing. We try our best.
Yeah,
Well, it's the first time you're going to have yourself with an Irish man.
Yes.
And an Aussie together in the booth. So there you go.
An Irish and an Aussie. I don't think I sound Irish. Although a lot of people say I do. I don't think so.
You're not real thick. Like taxi drivers when I lived in Dublin, actually. I know you're in
Oh, I can do
Northern
it.
Ireland.
Yeah, I can do the accent, right? So look, I can get away with it because I'm Irish, right? So I'm not offending anyone. So the Dublin accent has got this real, you're right there, how are you? It's got a real droll kind of accent, you know. Because the safety cars in this lap, there's not real much excitement in their voice. That's an Irish accent, of course. Sorry, I went off on one.
No, it's fine. It's good. Well, we're going to get a safety car in if you can see it. There it is. Drivers now have to get on with this, get these temperatures in the tyres.
Pickles.
Yep.
Can I just cut in? My wife, before this kick off, my wife wants me to say a word. A lot of people
Go for it. Yeah.
kind of take the P out of me whenever I say this word. Film.
Philip?
Pardon? A film, like a movie, a film.
Oh, Phil. Oh, I thought you said Philip. There you go. I'm now reading it. It says, now I'm reading the chat there. Say film. Yeah, she knows.
film.
She knows. She's on the money here. Lava
Just
needs
call
to
me
know,
out.
get on with this. You're going to be very careful when you hit that loud pedal. Coming out of these corners, I've seen cars go around left, right, and center like a roller coaster, actually. Well, like Dodgem cars. Hopefully not. Or bumper cars. But he's off. Lava's off. Now, Thor's going to come under pressure, isn't he, a little bit? What's happening?
Oh, crash! Massive crash at the back of the grid.
Oh, there it
Sorry,
is.
Biggs. Massive crash. Who's
I'm
ever
going
got
back
lost
to
an
it.
Aston? We've lost an Aston and a Haas. Oh. Sorry, Darrow. Or sorry, Biggles.
No, it's fine, mate. I wish I had more camera angles, isn't it? Because obviously I was focusing at the front and all that action happened at the back. But Ocean Chief has gone back into the pit, so hopefully he's got damage. Yes, no, it doesn't look like he's actually got damage on that car, but then again, he might have small. He's come out, actually. So, oh, wow, look at that. It's Twirly Whirly coming out of the pit lane, too. And that's, yeah, wow, what's going on? So we just lost Chakalaka, unfortunately.
We lost Boosted as well. Boosted has just lost it on the track. You see these cold Inters, man, really playing absolute havoc for these guys. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another safety car soon. This is just, you know, these guys are really struggling on these cold wets.
They absolutely are. Maybe Dario's not. We'll keep an eye on that. Boosted and Mess going to drop some positions, obviously have some damage, but we'll keep an eye on Dario. He's within half a second, dropping a little bit, let's say. Snell's going to keep him for company, so that'll be the interesting thing. But didn't we see drivers before? Well, you know, get the power down in the corner and then you go around. I'll tell you what, Dario might not be the quickest man on track, but you've got to feel good that he's displacing more water from those tyres than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just watching his delta here between him and Max, and I mean, he is losing time. I mean, he's down to just off about a second behind him here, so it's hard to gauge, Biggles, whether these wets are working or not. Although in saying that, he is starting to reel in Max, although he is deploying a lot, so it's too early days. Although, again, in saying that, it does seem to be clearing up.
Yeah, it was in the weather forecast that are showing, so the thunderstorms are not there anymore. I showed that one before, 5 minutes time. In fact, I'm really hoping we're going to get a dry end to this race because then we're going to get another spice. In fact, we might get all Pirelli tyres being used in this race. Well, I don't think we're actually going to see hards today, but I guarantee we're going to see softs, mediums, enters, and wets. That's for sure.
Yeah, Hards, horrible tire. I hate the Hards with an absolute passion. There's just no grip whatsoever. Hate it with a passion. Do you know what though? To see if Lavasoli does hang on and win this race with these changeable conditions, I mean, a driver of the day potential. I mean, he's having to put up with all these changeable conditions: a safety car, softs, then intermediates, maybe back to softs. This is far from over. 10 laps to go, Biggles, but this is far from over yet.
Yeah, Ever Snacks, the man that won the last race. Oh, there's a spin from him. Sorry, Ever. So he was trying to get to sneak past, they just couldn't. That's that corner, catches everybody off, doesn't all the time. That's actually the final corner. And now he's going to have to get on with it. He's going to get overtaken by Sonny right there. And, well, his pride. He's clawing his way back up, remember, the man that won the last race, started in P2. Not having the best day of days, but still 10 laps to go. And points are there. He's just outside of them. Anything can happen. It usually does in Formula One. Tranquillo still. And Max, the only two drivers out there on those older Inters. I guess it's probably a smart move. Bring them until perhaps dry conditions.
Yeah, Pluto says here on the chat, I would kind of agree with him. He says he thinks the Inters are faster but more difficult to drive currently. And you can see that the guys are really, really horsing their cars around the track on these Inters, trying to maximize, the absolute slip limit on the Inters, and it does seem a bit quicker. Dario does seem very comfortable, but effectively slower. So yeah, I would agree with Pluto in chat.
And that's the other one I was a little bit worried about. These drivers that get to start pushing these tires a little bit more. Like they're getting around 50s and maybe 55 to 60s soon for those Inter tires. Now that rain forecast that's going to be going away and drying up towards the end of the race, that could be a good switch. Could be. Some of those penalties. They only have two drivers right now with 3 seconds penalties. That is this man on board with Tranquillo. And then Sonny. Sonny's really just trying to push it because he's got Mr. Snacks that's caught back up again after that little bit of a spin coming out of the final turn. Where's he going to go here? To the left or to the right? Where's Sonny going to try to defend? Sonny's going to park the car in the middle, make it difficult, make him go on the outside. Clever. Dario's still hanging in there, isn't he? In fact, Dario's actually putting pressure right now on the back of Snell. Snell got past him, I believe. Snell was behind.
Yeah, we have support for Dario by Bowman, his teammate in chat. Yeah, fair play to Dario to giving it a go in these wets. It doesn't seem to be working out. But you know what? Fair play for trying.
He's in the points. It's crucial. Dropped a little bit there. You can see. So he's getting the traction, obviously, through those corners, but the main straight he's getting destroyed on with the tyres. Bean now putting pressure on Lava. So we haven't had much action at the front of this race for a while, but we are seeing it now. We're seeing looks like Sonny off. Yes, that is Sonny, but he's...
Oh, Eversnacks off as well again. Oh, it's going from bad to worse for Eversnacks, just at the pit lane as well. Oh, man. Oh, safety car! I completely missed that.
Wow, it just popped out because it's front wing missing, and the front wing missing of Sonny. That's the reason why the Alpine driver is going to go into the pit. So I'll tell you, lose the front wing. Don't lose it too far away from the pit entrance. That's not too bad. What's going to happen to the rest of the drivers? Well, a safety car now will bring the dry conditions even closer. And I'll show you that. Yeah.
This is going to be an absolute mind-boggling, conundrum for the drivers, specifically for Lava. What does he do? He has been in control of this race pretty much early on. He needs to get this right. Paramount he gets this right. Does he stay on the Inters? Does he pit for maybe a fresh set of Inters? Maybe not a good idea. Or does someone gamble and go for the softs? The dries. How quickly will this track dry? There won't be an awful lot long left in the race. The safety car will be out for 3 laps? Maybe 4. It could be a sprint to the end. This is going to come down to tire call, Biggles, strat call. Whoever gets it right is going to win this race.
Tranquillo, almost destroyed his car getting the pit lane entrance. 23 laps, he's decided to get rid of him. Team came back pretty quickly there at the end. He's going to switch it over to those Inters. It's still obviously too wet as a front wind change because he hit the wall entrance going into the pit lane. So that's unfortunate for him. He was doing so good. Dario does box as well, of course. He has to get rid of those wets because it's drying up. And that's exactly right in the Twitch chat. Easy pit for Dario from Pluto for sure. And he dropped a couple places. As you can see those gaps to leaders. There's quite a bit of a gap. Now Dario's going to come out and lose the one place there to Ocean Chief. It's where you see right there to the right coming around. But that's where he's going to be sliding up behind. And he'll have some nice fresh boots to get on with it. for at least,
Oh.
7 laps to go. I didn't know if it's going to dry out enough for dry tyres, but it's certainly going to be close. It's like a repeat of France all over again.
Yeah, all over again. And like I said, Lavas, well, I was going to say there, we've got Caster B. Thank you, Caster. We are saying the first part of Lavaso's name wrong. We're saying lava, but he is correct. It's Lavi. So it's
Lavi.
Lavi. So
Yes.
I wonder, is it,
Oops.
let's see, I know in French, if it has a little accent above the E, it can be or E. So is it Lavasole or Lavasole? You know? But anyway, Lavi is still behind the safety car. He hasn't pitted for dries. Let's see what he does this time. Is he going to try and bait? We'll see what he does. Is he going to try and bait? You get some of the drivers will bait the guy behind. Oh, I'm going to go into the pits. And then they dart out again.
You can see that with the forecast again, just looming there. It's still saying rain for another 5 minutes, but then it's dry.
Yeah,
So he's
they're
got to
staying
stay
out, man.
He has to stay out. I think it's just a little bit too wet. You can see the spray. And obviously, some of the drivers do wait for that DRS deactivation point. Yeah, the spray there. You can't go on dries just yet. When you get at the weather forecast, it looks like, it's rain, dry. It's just all over the place here in the Austrian Spielberg, the Alps. If Meepo picks up the penalty. Also, a lot of these drivers are starting to get on their 2 warnings as well. So looking at Lavi, 2 warnings, Beans on 2. We got Leslie on 2. Go down to the McLaren driver of Eversnacks is on 2 as well. Ocean Chief, I think, is on 2. Yes, he is, and 2 for Dario. That's 2 warnings, and we all know what happens. Get that third one, bang, 3-second penalty. And that, once again, we mentioned this at the start of the show, didn't we? A late safety cars bunch everybody up, and then the gaps to everybody becomes really, really tight, and then, well, 3 seconds is a make or break situation. So Lavi Bean has got everything to lose here. Thor is looking solid. No warnings whatsoever for the Red Bull driver. You said Mr. Consistent. Doing pretty good.
I said he's a dark horse for this race. Very consistent, keeps himself clean, keeps himself out of trouble. Not the quickest, he would agree with that. Not the quickest of these guys, but consistency. Patience means points. Patience and consistency in Formula One, I believe, it means points. Yeah, and look, it's almost like we're psychic here, because we did call this, late safety car, no penalty points, your game on. The safety car might come in this lap. If it doesn't come in this one, it'll definitely come in the next lap. Boosted will catch up at the back end, and we're going to get, 5-lap sprint to the end?
Yeah, it will come in this lap, I'm for sure, because the trigger point was already there. And we saw what happened after that safety car we had just before as well too. Shaka was involved in that mix, and a few of the other drivers. You think you caught that one, you didn't catch it on the stream too much. Unfortunately, just the end of it was a massive midfield collision. Safety cars breed safety cars. We know that.
Yeah.
It's going to happen again. Tricky conditions, however, still drying out, and that's what the safety car's bringing right now. It's slowing the race down, bringing the dry weather into time. But will it be too late? Really?
Well, do you know what I'll say, Biggs, here is a couple of things, right? Because I'm pretty sure the safety car will come in there at the end of this lap. Is first of all these tires obviously are getting really, really cold in the wets, in such a slow pace. Instead, right? Because I'm trying to get everything out here. Because we're so close to the end, and there's so much to win and lose. Don't be surprised we start seeing people going for it, because we're so close to the end. They're going to lunge. They're going to go for it. There may be collisions. Also, Max splits P6 with really cold intermediates, 25-lap old tires. He is going to get swamped, and he could effectively become a hazard. But as we predicted, safety car in this lap, it's game on, Biggs.
Yeah, that's the trigger point. You're exactly right, isn't it? Max has got to think about this in the long term. He's looking okay at 1 warning. Started in P9. I tell you what, Mr. the doctor himself, P5, the Alpine driver. He's been right up in the sharp end of this race, hasn't he? Started P17, currently in P5. So he just got to be really bringing that car home this evening and get a hurl of points for the Alpine. Would be fantastic. He had a couple of spins too as well. So he's, well, then again, I think most of the drivers today have had a couple of spins. Apart, I guess, from the Ferrari at the front. It's been keeping it pretty good. But there we go. Let's go. This is the difficult part now, isn't it? Once again, Lavi has to do this all over again like he did a couple laps ago. And he's got away with it. But what's going to happen in the midfield here? We'll go down to Max, actually. I think he's caught our Alpine driver actually sleeping a little bit. But Max has got those older tyres.
Oh yes, I seen Snelly was having a little sniff up the inside, and now look at this here. We've got 3 of these guys who's had Snacks and Snelly and Tranquilo. They're all, but we've got Tranquilo and Snacks touching wheels. This is going to get a little bit feisty here. Someone's going to have to. Oh, Snacks is late on the brakes. Look at them all pile up, but we're not finished yet. Snacks on the outside of Snella. Snacks really good on the traction there. Well done, Snacks. And he gets the position, so he goes from, where was he? He was P9 up to P7. Well done, Snacks.
Yeah, the man started in P2 and won the last race. Isn't no slouch. He's good at climbing his way back, that's for sure. Made a couple of little mistakes, obviously putting the power down, but that's because he's trying to go quicker than everybody else. It's always difficult. And now he's got to get past that man with those really old tyres. You can see 26 laps. You said that the Ferrari driver might be a bit of an issue. Well, let's see. He's got to get past him if he wants to try and gain some more positions. You've got to remember, too, Eversnacks is also on a penalty situation, really on the bubble of picking up his first penalties. So you've got to be careful.
Yeah, the biggest issue Max will find will be on the corners. Straights will be no problem for him. It's the corners is where he will lose it. Oh, Bean, 3-second time penalty. That's going to massively affect the race result.
I just bet on board with him. Yeah, the Haas driver, because he was just about to make an overtake there on Lavi, but pushed it a little bit too much on the track limits. Remember, Lavi's also on 2 penalties here, so Bean's got to get on with it right now. Get down the road, try to build a 3-second gap, or try to force the Ferrari driver into a mistake now. Thor is starting to catch up this pack. Leslie is also getting pretty close to the Thor, so this thing's going to spice up. I didn't say that at the start of the round. You always get a late last minute dive bomb there. Not dive, but Leslie confident on those brakes in these conditions. And I think Thor has still covered him off on the racing line. Yeah, boxing gloves out. Ding, ding, ding. Round 33 or 36. There's going to be some knockouts coming close here soon.
Yeah, it has been a great race, Bagels, in terms of, you know, they are showing a lot of patience, they're showing a lot of respect on track, but they're really going for it now at the end of the race. And this midsection battle for these last couple of points is getting really feisty. Who's that? Tranquilo was right up the gearbox of Snella, but then Max really struggling, as I said, on these corners. Max struggling. Eversnacks is past him. Dario picks himself up at 3-second, unfortunately. But Max is still not giving this one up. He's really deploying. He'll if he sees a position, he'll go for it. But I would say at the end of this run, Tranquilo also a 3-second penalty. I would say at the end of this run, you probably see Snella really starting to squeeze up the back gearbox of Max, as he will be really struggling on the traction. Oh, but he's going up the inside. Max is thinking about it, but Snella read it, and he's going to try and get the cut back on him. Is he? You know, he's maybe not going to get it. Man, look at all these guys so bunched up. So much different acceleration inputs going on here.
Join the party as well, exactly. Because they are. You said that with Max. You can see Snell there, Tranquilo. They're just trying to find traction here. The spray is there. Definitely not going to go to a point right now of switching over to the dries. It's too late. Only a couple of laps to go. But look at this. I don't know what happened to the Ferrari driver, but he looked like he's lost some time. I don't know if he has damage, because Beam was starting to pull almost a 2-second gap out. He could win this race, remember, even with that penalty. But this battle here still occurring between these gladiators.
Yeah, man, whenever he picked up that 3-second, I was thinking that's the race done for Bean. But look at this. He's got enough. Well, maybe he doesn't have enough time to get out of that 3-second time zone. But this puts Lavasole kind of in a reasonably good position, because all he has to do is just stay within that 3 seconds, and he's got it.
Eversnacks driving completely around the outside. Oh, and there's that's Tranquilo.
DRS activated as well, a bit late though, but yeah, goes to show you that these guys are going to really struggle with traction now.
Tranquilo, yep, that's going to push him down to a virtual safety car perhaps for a little bit, so stick to some deltas. I'm not quite sure if that's going to be a local yellow. Hopefully not. You won't get a safety car. No, it ended. Now the gap from Bean to Lavi, 2.1, 2.2. Bean's going to seize this opportunity, 2.3. Keep an eye on that while this other battle's still occurring here, but ultimate lap.
Yeah, Meepo really late in the brakes. He's really going for it here. Man, this battle from who's that's Max for back. Something's going to give here. 1 lap to go. Someone's going to, someone's going to go for it. And I think Meepo's really looking really confident on the late in the brakes. He's got 2 guys in front of him, much slower tires. He could definitely gain those 2 positions.
Leslie's gone somewhere. Leslie's gone. Oh no. I'm trying to find. Oh, they dropped so quickly. It's very hard to see where the car is. There he is. Oh, he's got no front wing. His game is over.
Meepo! Meepo's lost it as well.
Another one. Unfortunately, they don't bite the dust because they're still in it. Got to bring the cars home. Could still get a point there. Leslie's not. Leslie's going to come back, actually. He's going to go into the pits, so he's going to lose this. 2-second gap now at the front there from Lavi. He's going to maintain that, but he's got a bit of pressure from Thor coming in the background. Let's check out the gap to the leader. There it is. So you got to remember, Bean could have potentially... Oh, Bean's out!
Bean!
Bean's gone right there. You can see
Oh,
the car.
my goodness.
That is it. He's lost this race. He's lost at least a podium on the last lap of the race. And now, this is it between Thor and Lavi. Eversnacks climbed his way back up into P3, believe it or not. We see the Alpine driver losing another place there to Snell. Not just yet. It ain't over. Certainly, clearly, there's 3 battle occurring here. Ocean Chief, his teammate, also in play. So we've got both of the Alfa Romeos there, and the Alpines, a bit of a sandwich on that one. We'll keep an eye on that, but we might have to switch over to our race leader right now as he's coming around the final couple of corners, and Lavi has done it. He got a bit of pressure there towards the end, but he's going to cross the line. The Ferrari driver is going to do it. He's going to win this race in the wet conditions, changeable conditions. He's done it for the Austrian Grand Prix. Thor, what a man that delivered that one. Eversnacks, a drive to survive right there. He's going to be signing up for Netflix, but then again, he will lose that position to Max. It looked like on some penalty that was not served. Snell and the Dr. Ocean Chief, Sonny, Dario,
Wow.
and see Boosted Mass did switch it onto the softs towards the end. Maybe trying to go for the fastest lap. He already has. I'm not sure he had the fastest lap, but that's it. That is
Man,
it.
what a race. I mean, I've been really impressed with how the guys carried themselves today. That was an amazing race by so many guys. Picking the driver, Dr. Uther gets the game's driver of the day, but for us, man, there's so many guys that are worthy of the driver of the day. It's going to be a difficult one trying to pick between all these guys.
How unfortunate was, Leslie and some of the other drivers right towards the end on the last couple of laps doing such a great job. And one little mistake, just one little mistake, doesn't it just cost you the possibility of getting a hurl of points? But these men right now on the dry podium, as we expected, that we said at the start there, super happy. Great day for Ferrari.
Yeah, a great day for Ferrari. Again, Lavasole done a great job. As we said, in changeable conditions, he still held it. He knew when to change for the intermediates onto the dry compound and back onto the intermediates. Of course, he had that little bit of a battle with Bean, loses it out. Bean really did lose out. I think probably how Bean lost that is he was really just trying to get out of that to, extend from 2 seconds to 3. Could be that. Maybe a bit too eager on the throttle and he lost it. But yeah, he lost out on it. Great drive from Lavi Sole. But you know what? I would say maybe the game isn't wrong. Dr. Uther qualified P17, finishes P6. Definitely a big shout for driver of the day.
Yeah, I keep telling him Alpine driver. My apologies. It was Williams. It's very hard to see the difference between them. But yeah, it was brilliant. Dario, I remember taking that little bit of a gamble. He gained the position. He's also gained the fastest lap, even though he had that penalty towards the end. That definitely would have dropped him a couple of places. That'll be it, guys. We'll definitely have to hear from some of these drivers during the interviews. So yeah, Tipsy Bob, get a little bit of a break for a second for the drivers to get up and stretch their legs and maybe a driver relief break. And we'll get him in for a chat for sure in a second.
But as you say, Dario getting himself up to points, that's a great job because, he was the only one that was willing to go for that gamble on the wets. Didn't really work out for him, but you know what? Late safety cars, penalties, he kept his nose clean and he got himself into points. So yeah, it's a great wee drive from Dario as well. Yeah, and the fastest lap, as his teammate Bowman points out. Well done, Bowman. He does get the fastest lap, so he gets himself that extra point as he finished P9.
The Gladiators, my friend. And this is just Tier 4. We've got yourself racing again tomorrow, I think. And then obviously the other lads Fridays and Saturdays for the Tier 2, Tier 3.
Yeah, I get so excited these race weeks in SLR because, they're just so competitive. Effectively the way the grid is run, I'm sure people know Tier 4 would kind of be like the entry level, which is like a missed justice to the guys because they are not entry level. They are quality drivers, as we've seen. It is not difficult it is difficult. Excuse me. It is difficult to race, in such changeable conditions in Austria of all places. They did a great job, but just as you start going up the tiers, the quality is just off the scale, and then you get to Tier 1. My goodness, some of those guys are borderline esports level. It's just, you are spoilt every week in SLR, I think, with the standard of racing and even the standard of the streamers. I'm not including myself here, but especially Tier 1, Tara and Timo have been there since day one, commentating, and then of course have to have yourself Biggles as well calling the action. It's just you're spoiled for choice, I would say, in SLR when it comes race week.
Let's spoil those drivers for some interviews right now. We have them 8 waiting, so you have the honours there of pulling in whoever you like. I don't even mind if you pull in all the drivers so they can chat to us during the interviews. But we can do we'll do one at a time. But they could listen in, of course.
The thing is, I don't know if I can pull them in or not yet. I don't.
Maybe we just jump down to the interview room, perhaps, and then we'll just let everybody know that we'll go through one at a time. I think that'll be the best.
Well, we could try that.
Yeah. So, welcome, guys. We're going to start the interview process. Mr. Tipsy Bob and myself. Tipsy Bob can jump down into the interview room in a second, if you can, of course. So, we'll go through one at a time. Obviously, you guys can all just listen to the interviews. So, Tipsy Bob, who do we go through first?
Let me have a wee look down. I would like to go with the Snacks first. Mr. Snacks, are you there?
Here is shit. Please delete this game.
You finished before?
Hang on. So,
Yeah, we'll go through one at a time if we get a driver. So, Snacksy, I think.
yeah, Snacks, if you're there, man. Great qualifying. But one of the guys I was predicted to put it on pole or near pole, and then everything just went south for you, Snacks. Do you want to tell us how your race went?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just all around awful. In qualifying, for some reason, I forgot to turn off the medium traction control. I was planning to do no traction control from this race on, and then I noticed like halfway into the qualifying that I had it still on from some online lobby, and then I didn't want to turn it off later on because I wouldn't have to practice in the wet. So yeah, I did qualifying with medium traction control. That's the reason why I was so quick in the qualifying at the end. And then in the race at the start, I did turn it off because I felt like, it's just fair, I guess. But then at some point, Epo spun in front of me. I just drove into him, ruined my wing. I went another lap with the broken wing as well, and then had to pit. At some point, I think I pitted for the wets as well, just to do something. Yeah, and then the safety cars at the end kind of pulled it back, but I can't say that's feeling good. I also had some really dirty driving, like from my side as well. Really not feeling proud of that one.
Well, we didn't really pick up on any dirty driving ourselves. Next, we were covering pretty much all the action, but we did see an awful lot of wheel-to-wheel stuff. Of course, if there is any issues, anyone has anything that they're a little bit aggrieved about, get your clips clipped effectively and stick it in the report channels. But man, the safety car was a saving grace for you, Snacks, because I mean you got back up pretty high in the points and recovered well.
Yeah, I mean for the championship, it's definitely good. Especially I think Lavi Fasole won the race, so just getting enough points to keep that gap as small as possible. But yeah, I practiced a lot in the drive for this track without the traction control as well. So I was really hoping that I could actually show that, but yeah, just didn't happen at the end. I turned the TC back on during the race as well because I was just spinning in the wet. It was I mean it was fine at the end, but still doesn't feel great.
And Snacksy, you were one of those drivers too. There's only 3 of them on the grid that actually gambled to those wet tires. You got 3 laps on them, and obviously that safety car came out. He said, "Look, I got to get rid of them because there's changeable conditions." Did you think if you probably would have perhaps stayed out on those inters, that would have saved you that 18 or so second pit stop, even though safety car perhaps could have got you on a podium today? I don't know, but your comeback drive was brilliant.
I did just remember that my game crashed just as I went out on the wets.
Oh, that's right. So okay, and then the AI boxed you. That's all. Is that what happened?
No, I did decide to just go back on the inters because I knew that it was going to get less rain. I was just trying something with the wets, and the safety car kind of helped there with the pit back onto the inters. But yeah, I didn't actually get to drive those wets for a lot of the race.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, thank you very much, mate. We do have a lot of drivers to go through for the interviews. So damage limitation, I have to say, for sure. And you're still looking to me like you're going to be on the top of this very important championship with lots of times to go. Those are the results, obviously, from the driver's points from last race. We still have to add those points on this one. But, yeah, yourself and Lava are going to be super, super close. Lava's going to obviously be the man on the Leaders' Championship. We'll speak to him actually right now. Thank you very much there, Snacksy.
All right, thank you, guys.
So, yeah, speaking of the Ferrari driver, both the Ferrari drivers did a fantastic job today. Lavi, now in the Leaders' Championship, how was that race for you? I think you did pretty much everything right. Bit of a challenge towards the end right there, wasn't it? You were nursing two warnings, too, for quite some time. How was that?
Yeah, I mean, the race was very good for me,
but I'm a little bit disappointed with the quali because I was gonna go on the softs, and then the game decided to put the inters on me. And I almost fucked up me post quali lap also because I was in front of him with the inters and he was coming with the softs.
You
Yeah.
did.
Careful with the language. Careful with the language as well too. Right? Family-friendly stream. That's all right. But yeah, it's so yeah. P5 to P1, but still can't complain about that.
No, the race went good. I felt like Bean was faster than me, but I kept him behind enough for him to not pull away.
That was spicy towards the end as well, between yourself and Bean.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him on the last because he spun on the straight, so
Probably,
yeah.
Probably a little loud on the loud pedal. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, you'd find out about that one in the Discord chat. So yeah, mate, we'll let you go. Celebrate. For,
Yeah, thanks.
Another race win, and now you are the man on top of the championship, but still is definitely spicy, and this is only round 6, plenty of races to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. So Tipsy,
Thanks.
Thank you, Tipsy Bob. Who's
Bye.
next, mate? To have a
Yeah,
chat
I would
to?
like to have a wee quick chat with Thor.
Oh, sorry.
Just to remind all the drivers that we are live on stream, so if you can just watch what your language, please. It is a family-friendly show. But yeah, Thor, my man, I called it early on in the qualifying that you were a dark horse for this race. I have raced you, as you know. We've shared a racetrack quite a few times.
Yeah.
And I've said that you're a very consistent driver. You keep your nose clean. You get penalties to a minimum. Probably most of the time you don't get any penalties at all. And, you're consistent. And you grabbed yourself, a P2 and a podium. Congratulations, man. And tell us how your race went.
Yeah, my race was good. We can start with the qualifying, I guess. I went out on high fuel laps just to get a feel for the track, and then I went out a second time with a little less fuel, and I was just too enthusiastic on the throttle, and I crashed my car. So I think I started P4, P5 maybe. I don't remember really.
How did you find the
P4.
the changeable P4? Yeah. How did you find the changeable conditions, Thor? And I mean, were you getting? Did you have anyone crew chiefing you in the background, like Icewind or someone, or was that?
No, Fede Crystals was supposed to. He was supposed to, but as soon as we were about to start, he had to go eat his dinner. Yeah. So. My teammate, my new teammate, I just changed teams also. My new teammate Tilde did a great job in crew chiefing for me, as he unfortunately had to retire his car.
Yes, we've seen that. Yeah,
due to issues. So he helped me quite a lot. My goal was to keep it on track, keep penalties to a minimum, which is
you did.
My driving style is based on not having any penalties. So
you had 0 warnings. 0 warnings. It was only yourself and one other driver that was boosted mess that had 0 warnings. So that in itself.
Yeah, hats off to boosted, man.
Yeah. Well, but well done to you, Thor. I mean, like you did prove me right. So thank you very much, because I don't want to sound like I'm talking nonsense on stream. But yeah, a P2, fantastic performance, fantastic drive, man. And we'll want to get through everyone here because I don't want to keep everyone has a time schedule. So we're gonna keep the interview short. So thanks, man, for the drive today and for the interview.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for my family and all my sponsors, and also lovely commentating duo this Big Wills and Tipsy Bob.
Thank you very much. But the stars of the show were you guys, as Biggle says, the gladiators on track today. So thank you guys for putting on that show. Biggs, I think we should go to Max, Mr. Max, Monsieur Max, mon ami français.
Oh yeah,
or français. Sorry, français. Pardon. Français is Finland.
Actually, I'm doing a formation on German recently.
Oh.
Yeah, get us good.
but you are a French driver, I believe, right? So the Ferrari driver of French driver driving in an Italian team from P9. And guess what, my friend? You were the only driver that did a one-stop strategy in this race. It clearly paid off.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to replicate what happened in Spain, but reverse. Basically, I was following Shaka, and I did see him. He didn't pit, and I thought, okay, I'm not losing you, man. Just
Yeah.
gonna go to the end. Plus, yes, the rain is gonna go heavier, but there's a safety car, so it's gonna pass. And when it's down, the rain's gonna come down, so the track is gonna get drier and drier, and the tire, the inter will basically become like a medium, like a soft. And so I decided, let's just keep on. I managed to do that in Spain. Why not here? So yeah, the race was, I mean, from my perspective, it started quite bad. Because when everyone went for Inter, I thought didn't wanted to double pit stop with Lavifa Sol, my teammate. So I did another lap, but I really regretted it. I did spam just before going to the pit, and lost quite some time plus with the lap. And
front wing change
yeah,
as
I
well,
had
right? I believe.
Hmm?
Was it a front wing
What?
change when you spun before the pit lane?
No,
Oh, okay.
nothing. Just a spin.
Okay.
So yeah, I was a bit lucky. And yeah, I had some amazing. But I really want to point that I had some amazing battle with Chief and Chaka.
Yeah.
Like so much respect. Like sometimes I decided just to go on the outside of a corner. I don't know if it was on the stream. And I
Yes.
thought you're crazy to do that because with some it's way too much risky. And they just gave space, and we gave space. It was hard, but such respect. Yeah, that was feeling really, really good. It really set me up back on the race. And yeah, when there was a big crash in front of me on the safety car, and there was another guy who did pass me, and I was a bit pissed off by that because I thought it was kinda unfair to take advantage of such thing. Like almost, I think, during under yellow flag. And yeah, at the end,
Yeah. Well, Max, yeah, I was just going to ask you a quick question there. 31 laps, so you were the Pirelli tire tester. You must have felt like Lewis Hamilton burning those tires down a slick. So what percentage were they towards the end?
to be honest, not that much. I think the worst was on 55, 55, I think. It really wasn't that bad.
Yeah, 55 is not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I was even. I mean, Snacks is way faster than me, and I was managing to follow him, even if I didn't try to fight him too much. I was thinking like, just save points. That's good. After France, that's really good. So yeah.
I just want to say he definitely had the pace today. That he was really quick in the rain. I could barely overtake him.
Yeah, but yeah, I just thought. Yeah, at the end I regretted it when I saw that you became P3. But yeah, no, I was just feeling you did a great race with the start. Just secure it. That's it.
If I can just say as well, Max, to make reference on what you were saying earlier there about your battle with Chief and Shaka, we did capture some of that. And we captured the moment whenever you were coming up to turn 3, you actually chose the outside line to try and go round Shaq. And I was calling on the stream that that's a brave thing to do because many drivers would have just run you off track. And Shaq didn't.
Yeah.
He made it difficult for you, but he still left enough space. It then ran on to turn 4. Again, you were on the outside. Another potential disaster place. But yeah, you were running pretty close for a good amount of laps and keeping it clean. And so I've raced yourself, Max, as you know, and you are a very respectful driver. You don't do anything stupid. You don't send it on guys. And I think that showed today, especially.
You drive for this kind of moment, Tipsy. You feel like two titans fighting each other.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not just human. You really feel like nobility, almost like chivalry between two driver. Let's say.
Yeah, what I would agree, just to go off on one Biggs here, I would agree that one of the things I love the most in Formula One racing games is the wheel-to-wheel action. I thrive on it. I personally love it when especially when it's respectful. That some guy tries to do the cutback on you. If he does a far better move than you need to respect that and just commend the guy of doing a fantastic move. And when you're going, corner after corner, side by side, as we did, Max, if you remember back in Silverstone one time,
Yes.
one of the best racing experiences I had was like almost half a lap side by side with Max, battling it out. It is the most purest form of racing. And when you have two souls on the track that showing so much respect, but so much craft, I would agree with you. It is the most exhilarating thing in Formula One.
Can I give a conclusion sentence to this?
Yeah.
Kids, if you want to have battle like this, don't think at one single moment, I'm gonna convert him now!
Yes, I agree. Yes,
It
patience.
never works. It
No.
never works.
I agree 100%.
works.
It is people don't realize that it is actually, well, I suppose to some degree they will realize it, but it is a thinking man's game. And the longer you're behind that guy, as I said to Biggs earlier on, the longer you're behind that guy, you can analyze him. You can see where he's going wrong, where he's breaking late, where he's going wide, and then you can manipulate that. That is the true essence of racecraft. And yes, so often we do see so many guys across many leagues, they have remarkable raw pace, but lacking in racecraft. So thus, whenever you get to a break zone, they'll send it and then collisions happen.
And on top of that, yeah, exactly. And congratulations to Max. Hang on one second.
Thank you. Thanks again. I think
Sorry, I
the
had the
podium will
sneezes.
go back to Snacks, but
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Simply
on
that
top of
everything
it too, just to back off what Tipsy Bob has said, we're only on round 6. Round 6 is now done. We still have 22 races in the season to complete
22?
overall. So, you're not going to win a championship just on one track and one season, one opportunity.
Exactly.
It has to be consistency. That's key. That's why we. Anyway, good on you, Max. Congratulations.
Thanks, Max.
Ferrari
Thank you.
1-3, double Ferrari podium position today. It's going to be good for the team.
Merci, mon ami.
On top of and that'll actually increase your championship standings as well, which I pull up on the screen there as well. On top of it, so you already had 91 points, and you've got a whole lot more points there going for the Italian team. Good on you. Thank you.
thanks.
Good job, Max. Biggs, I think the only person left in the interview room that was on track was Meepo. Now, before we bring in Meepo, that is if we're going to give him an interview, Meepo, remember that you're live. Meepo is a little bit unpredictable. So we are live on stream. So just, be careful what you say. Meepo, are you listening? Meepo.
Yes.
There we go.
Yep. Let me turn you up a little bit there, Meepo. Yep. All right. So you were right up there, Maxi, with the Top Guns there. Unfortunately, finished out of that from pole, but don't take it away from your pace. Yeah. How was the race?
Bad.
Bad. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're definitely from Finland, aren't you? Because you're a man of many
Yes.
words.
Nicely spotted, Vegas.
No, mate. Yeah, it doesn't go your way, but don't take it away from the fact you had the pace. Both of yourself and Bean were doing really good right at the top of the timesheets there. And, unfortunately, changeable conditions and things just did not go your way. But if you had, overall, summarize what could have happened and what ifs and all that jazz.
I could have won the race by 50 seconds.
50 seconds?
50
That's a bold
seconds?
brave to say, my friend. Really?
Yeah.
50 seconds. People, if you had have won this race, let me tell you something, right? Because I am speaking from experience. Mr. Icewind will know. If you had have won this race by 50 seconds, you would have been yoinked straight out of Tier 4 and put directly, maybe, into Tier 2. So careful what you wish for, Meepo.
Yeah.
I rather go to tier 3 at this point.
But listen, man, to get focused on the race, qualifying was an absolute masterstroke from you to go very, very late onto those softs. Did you think that it benefited you at the start of the race with those one lap worn softs, or what happened with you and Snack as well later on in the race? We seen you colliding, so that's two questions in one.
Okay. I thought we'd have like rain on lap 10, 9, somewhere there. But the rain started on lap 2. So I spun there at the last corner. I spun very delicately in front of Snacks. He hit me to the side, but I got underfloor damage. And I understood a lot after that.
Yeah, the old underfloor damage and stuff like that does occur. It's not too much you can't. It's not like a front wing, is it? You can't replace it. That's something you have to nerf for the rest of the race. But you did quite a good job. Yeah, the pace anyway. I mean, if you can finish the race by 50 seconds, if you didn't have damage, even with that damage, you could probably still have done a fantastic job. And yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly to back off what Tipsy Bob had said, you were the last man across the line, the only guy really across the line that didn't invalidate a lap on the softs, and it was almost a 5-second gap, I think, to everybody else, wasn't it?
Yeah, I knew how to drive.
We
Can I
thought you
just
could
add
drive in
this?
the wet conditions,
Oh.
of course, from Finland or icy conditions. But yeah, sorry, go ahead, Tipsy.
I was just going to add because Meeple was talking. As you know, my wife is behind me. She's listening to the stream. She's one of the biggest listeners or the best listeners. She says, if I can quote, she says, "Ah, he's got a really cute voice."
Oh,
That's
nice.
so there you go, Meeple.
You got a
This is
fan.
already. This is the third time someone has said to me today.
This is a nice little voice,
You
Meeple.
got fans.
Be proud
out
of it.
there, my friend.
Yes, use it, my man.
Kimi
First
Raikkonen's
it was
retiring.
Bailey.
We need more Finns in F1.
Exactly.
Just wait 3 years and hello, I'm Meepo.
Exactly. You will get the
Yeah.
drink, Meepo. Trust me. You will get the drink.
In 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't want to drink any alcohol, so don't worry.
No, Heineken 0.0, of course. No alcohol content in there whatsoever. Anyway,
Mm.
but Meepo,
Well,
yeah,
thanks.
mate, it's a
Yeah,
long
thanks.
season. You know, it's once again we're saying you're not going to win everything every single time. But what's clear, obviously, is that you have pace. That's for sure.
Yep. Like, I just want to say this one thing from the safety car restart.
Hmm.
I was following Bean very very beautifully. He decides to brake. I braked. I was right next to him. He turned on the left. I turned on the left. I went off track. Then Shakalaka and Leslie overtook me because I was off track. And after that, the race restarted. And Shakalaka made a mistake or something. He tried to correct it, lost control, hit me. I hit the wall, and the race was over.
So that's what happened. Well,
Yeah.
We will have highlights coming up just at the end of
Yeah.
the session as well too. So you can probably, if you want to hang around, obviously, and watch those highlights. They're all the saved clips that I have from all the replays. Of course, you can watch the whole thing back later as well too, and see if you actually caught some of that.
yeah. The thing is, Biggles, we also have. Sorry, Meeple, but moving on. I'm just going to say that we have Shaq. We have Shaq
We have
in
the
the interview.
shakalaka laka, my friend.
We
You're gonna
have
do
the
it. You're gonna
Shaka man himself.
roll the R's on the shakalaka laka. Shaka.
Shakalaka.
G'day, mate. Yeah, thank
Mr.
you.
Shaq.
Sorry, yeah. Go,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Yo, hello.
Meepo, thank you very much for that. Yeah, Shaka, welcome.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I was listening to that. Actually, my take on that incident is completely different. It's true,
Oh.
I did have a bit of wheel spin on the restart of the safety car, but I controlled it, like just a bit of wheel spin, a few snaps, but I just kept it there because I knew he's on the inside, right? So I just need to make sure I go on a straight line, and I did, and I'm just going a straight line, no wheel spin at this moment, after a second or so after my wheel spin, and I just got a hit, and my race is over, just like that. So I'm just going on a straight line. You can see my stream.
Hmm.
So I don't know what was happening there. I saw that there was some moves, some overtaking moves behind. So don't know who was, let's say, at fault, or I think it was just more like a racing incident, maybe. Just
Mhm.
Well, from the stream,
unlucky
from the,
there,
from the
like-
broadcast, I could barely see any of the cars on track at the moment, mate. So I'm surprised that you guys.
Yeah,
like, you-
it was a hard condition, definitely very difficult. But yeah, no, but the best part of my race was that fight with Max. That was fantastic, like so fun, and so I didn't think I was going to keep the pace with him, going side by side, but managed to do it, and really that was enjoyable. That was really enjoyable.
I think key word of the day really comes down to that one word you said. The 3 little letters, fun. That was fun, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was definitely fun. Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, good racing, but yeah. And my last lap on the quali was sadly invalid. Would have been a good start, but
It is what it is, Mr. Shaka. It is what it is. You're still in this championship in the midfield there. Plenty of races to go to get on with that one. That's it, I think, for the interviews. For sure. We need to get everybody to tuck them
I still have 0 points, just saying.
Yes, I know. I noticed that. I was just pulling that up right now on there, but Meepo can't take that one away. That the fact you have to pace. So, plenty of time to get yourself a hurl of points. 3 or 4 race wins, and you're right at the top, battling for the championship. So I wouldn't worry about that. With that voice as well, probably get you a couple of extra points for fans out there.
Well, give
So-
me like 100 points right now, then I'll continue.
You got to earn them, my friend, and I'm sure you will with that driving, with the pace that you have. So yeah, Tipsy, let's let these guys
Yes, ma'am.
rest. Tuck some of the
Yes,
young ones
we'll-
into bed, or some of the older ones will be tucking their younger ones into bed. Who knows? But that's will be it for the race.
Yes, man. Well, I'll say this was a very, very enjoyable event for me personally. I normally like to be on track, doing my thing. But it was an absolute pleasure, Biggles, to be doing the Tier 4 commentating with you. And you know what? I'd be very keen to do it all over again.
I would love to, my friend. Love to, with that beautiful Irish accent that you have. Very, very smooth, isn't it? It's like radio
you.
voice. We need to do some recordings, aren't we? For SLR with that. And yeah, you did that lap guide anyway at the start of the
I did,
segment,
yes.
So make sure plenty of more to go. Well, that's up to the bosses at Power B, but I'll definitely be back for the Tier 4 next to bring the broadcast for the next race. Plenty of other racing, of course, to go. Tier 3, Tier 2, Tier 1. Everything's here at SLR. That'll be it from myself. Any last words there, Tipsy Bob, before we go to the highlight reel? Make sure you check the highlight reel as well, too. And thank you, obviously, everybody on YouTube for tuning in and streaming, because that's what makes it pleasurable for us and the drivers to present all this racing. Plenty more to go, too. And there's the calendar you can see.
Yeah, I would just pretty much second everything you said there, Biggs. The highlight reel, it'll be coming up shortly. Also, this was just the starting event this week. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to have all over again in Austria in Tier 3, where we take it another level up with that level of drivers for Tier 3. We've got some old Tier 1 drivers in there as well. Not including myself, but yes, ex-Tier 1 drivers. Of course, we've got Bance who's leading the charge. He has been away for a while, but I think I've kind of encouraged my old dude, my old mucker, as we say, to get back in the car with me. So we'll be back into the McLarens. And then Terror Incognita. You maybe, if you're familiar with these league races in SLR, he is the main Tier 1 commentator, and what a fantastic voice he has as well. But he's also pretty handy behind the steering wheel, and he will also be taking part in Tier 3's race tomorrow as a reserve. And then on Friday, all over again, we take another step higher, Tier 2. That's when we start to get freakishly fast. Some of those guys are remarkably fast, borderline Tier 1 level. And then, of course, Saturday, the big one with Tara and Timo covering Tier 1. Some of the fastest guys I have seen to date since we've started Formula 1 streaming. All those years back, was it 2017, 18? They've just been getting better and better and better. And yeah, Tier 1 is where it is all at. And you know what, Bagels, before I stop speaking here, one thing I'd be really looking forward to, because I have a feeling it's sniffing in the background. I did do a video for it. Haven't used it yet. I would expect to see at some time in the near future EGL Rivals back. Whereby, if anyone's unfamiliar, and I'm sure the guys admins will be kicking off saying, why is he saying this? Basically, it's whenever we take some of the best, I think it's the best 5 drivers from around the Formula 1 world, put them all into one league, take part in 3 races to see whom is the best driver, whom is the best league. I have a feeling that might be happening in the coming months, so stay tuned. But yes, come back tomorrow, lads. Tier 3, it's all happening all over again. Biggs.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, only way to find that out would be to slap that subscribe button. And thank all the drivers and the family here at SLR that put together all these great packages. That'll be it from us, exactly. Plenty of racing. Well, we've had dry, wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, almost every single Pirelli tire used this evening. But I'll tell you what, Tipsy Bob, fantastic to be in the booth with you for the first time. Let's just end it. Watch some highlights. Good night, everybody. Take care and stay safe.
Don't.